There is a secret about your existence, a truth so profound that ancient forces conspired to bury it beneath the weight of time. It was never meant to be spoken, never meant to be discovered. But destiny has a way of defying even the most immutable decrees, and now the veil is lifting. From the moment you took your first breath, your name was inscribed on a plane few can perceive. It was etched into the very fabric of existence, a mark neither celestial beings nor shadowed entities could fully comprehend. You were never supposed to be here, or at least, you were never meant to remain. An order had been given. A decree had been set in stone long before you could ever question it. A hunter was sent. A creature shaped by chaos and obedient to darkness. A fallen angel, stripped of grace and bound to the will of the abyss. He had ended countless lives before, erased souls without hesitation, his blade an extension of his existence, merciless, unwavering, absolute. But when it came to you, something changed. He should have struck you down. He should have erased your name from the annals of time, as he had done with so many others. And yet, he did not. The night he found you should have been like any other, a silent execution, another soul erased without question. He had done this before, countless times, without hesitation. His blade had never faltered, his purpose never wavered. And yet the moment he stood before you, something within him broke. His instincts screamed for him to act, to finish what had been decreed since before you were even born. He should have struck you down before you ever saw him, before you even knew he existed. But the blade never fell. A strange sensation coursed through him, unfamiliar and unwelcome, a crack in the certainty that had defined his existence for eons. Hesitation. A shadow of doubt passed through his very being, subtle yet shattering, like a whisper of something forbidden in the abyss. It was not weakness, he had no concept of such a thing, but something deeper, something that defied the order written into his essence. He told himself it was a fleeting miscalculation, an insignificant delay. But the longer he stood there, the more he realized the truth. He could not do it. He could not erase you. Hatred rose in him not for you, but for himself. He had never failed, never questioned, never faltered. His entire existence was built upon obedience, upon the execution of commands that should never be ignored. And yet, here he stood, his blade frozen in the air, an unspoken war raging within him. He had never been anything but a servant of darkness, a force of ruin, a shadow bound to the will of the abyss. So why now did he feel something shift, something unravel? He tried to force himself to act, to silence the anomaly before it grew into something uncontrollable. But it was already too late. Something in your presence disarmed him in a way he could not comprehend. You were not just another soul, another name to be erased. There was something about you, something that defied the rules he had always known. Your heartbeat echoed through the silence, steady and unafraid, and for the first time in all his existence, he felt as though he were standing on the edge of something unknown. The weight of his own hesitation crushed him, a foreign burden pressing against him like unseen chains. He should have left, should have vanished into the shadows. But instead, he lingered, caught in the gravity of something beyond his understanding. Anger burned in his chest, not at you, but at himself. He could not comprehend why his body refused to obey, why the decree that had guided him for eternity now felt like an illusion crumbling before his eyes. And so, he did the only thing he could. He turned and disappeared into the night, retreating into the darkness that had always been his home. But something followed him. An invisible mark burned into his mind, a name he could not forget. He told himself he would return, that he would correct this mistake, that he would finish what he had started. But deep down, he already knew the truth. The failure was not in his blade. The failure was in him. Since that night, he has never left you. You may not see him, but you feel him. A silent presence lingering just beyond the veil of perception. A weight pressing against your soul. At first, it is nothing more than an unshakable feeling, an occasional chill crawling up your spine, a fleeting shiver in the warmth of the sun. You dismiss it as paranoia, an overactive imagination. But deep down, you know better. Something unseen moves in the spaces between your breaths, watching, waiting. He keeps his distance at first, hidden in the places where light does not reach. He watches in silence, trying to understand why he failed. He tells himself it was a momentary lapse, an anomaly to be corrected. But the longer he observes, the less he believes his own justifications. The truth is far more insidious. Something in you lingers in his mind, refusing to be erased. He does not understand it, and that terrifies him. The more he watches, the closer he draws. His presence shifts from a whisper to a weight, pressing against the fabric of your existence. You begin to notice. The air thickens when you're alone. The light seems dimmer, sounds more distant, as if the world itself recoils at the presence of something unnatural. You catch glimpses of movement and reflections, but when you turn, there is nothing there. The feeling of being watched intensifies, an oppressive awareness that burrows into your thoughts, turning silence into something unbearable. The dreams begin soon after. At first, they are fragments, half-formed images that dissolve the moment you wake. But they grow stronger, more vivid, more real. A shadow looms at the edge of your vision, always watching, never speaking. The presence does not touch you, but you feel it, an unrelenting force just beyond reach, tethered to you by something unseen. You wake with the lingering sensation of something unfinished, something waiting. He should remain hidden, should erase all trace of himself. That is what he was trained to do. But he does not. Instead, he leaves pieces of himself behind, not mistakes, but choices. A whisper too close, a shadow that lingers just a moment too long, a sensation that tightens around you like unseen fingers. He tells himself it is part of the hunt, that he is simply studying his prey. But the truth is far more dangerous, because with each passing day it becomes clearer. This is no longer a hunt. It is an obsession. And worse still, he no longer knows if he is watching you because he must end what he started, or because he cannot bear to turn away. He has tried everything to silence the chaos within him. He has drowned himself in battle, torn through countless souls, and buried himself in destruction, all in a desperate attempt to forget. But no matter how much blood stains his hands, no matter how deep he buries himself in the abyss, nothing erases the moment he met you. Your existence clings to him like a shadow that refuses to fade, a mark burned into his very essence. He tells himself that it is a curse, that you are an anomaly disrupting the order he has always known. And yet, the more he tries to deny it, the more the truth presses against him like a weight he cannot escape. The failure was not in his blade. It was in him. You were supposed to be nothing, a name, a target, a task to complete and forget. But you are none of those things. The rules he has always obeyed, the absolute certainty of his purpose, have shattered. He is no longer sure if he was sent to eliminate you or if this mission was never about you at all. Perhaps it was about him. Perhaps it was meant to break something within him, to expose a weakness he never knew existed. He fights against the thought, against the unraveling of his own existence. But it is useless. Every path leads back to you. Every time he closes his eyes, he sees your face. Every time he tries to forget, your presence returns stronger, more consuming. He cannot understand why, and that terrifies him. Was this fate? Was he always meant to find you, not as an executioner, but as something else? The question haunts him. It poisons him. It transforms him. And though he tries to convince himself that you are his downfall, another part of him, the part he has spent lifetimes ignoring, whispers that maybe, just maybe, you are his awakening. Then one night, the pursuit ends. The shadows no longer conceal him and the whispers no longer dissolve before you can hear them. He stands before you at last, no longer a distant presence lurking in the darkness, but a force that bends reality itself. The air around you shifts, thick with something unseen, something inevitable. You feel it in your bones, the weight of this moment, the unshakable sense that everything has been leading to this. His blade is drawn, but it does not strike. His mission was clear, his purpose absolute. And yet, he hesitates. He has told himself time and time again that this is merely unfinished business, that you are nothing more than a mistake he must correct. But now, standing before you, the truth is undeniable. This was never just another hunt. This was never about you. It was about him. About the fracture that had been growing inside him since the moment he laid eyes on you. For the first time, he is forced to confront what he has been running from. The certainty that once guided him has turned to dust, and in its place is something unfamiliar, something terrifying. Choice. He was not made to choose. He was made to obey. But now, his orders feel hollow, and the weight of the blade in his hand feels more like a burden than a purpose. He expected you to run, to fight, to react in a way that would make his decision easier. But you do none of those things. You simply look at him, and that single act shatters him more than any battle ever could. He realizes, in that moment, that if he does not act now, he may never be able to fulfill his mission. But at the same time, he knows that if he does, he will be destroying the only truth he has ever glimpsed. The silence between you is unbearable, stretching into something that neither of you can define. He clings to the last remnants of his purpose, but they slip through his fingers like ash. He understands now. He did not fail because he was weak. He failed because for the first time, he saw beyond the chains that bound him. And now, there is no turning back. Freedom always comes at a price. He knows this the moment he lowers his blade, the moment he turns his back on the order that has defined his existence for eternity. The abyss does not tolerate disobedience. The masters he once served will not stand for his failure. The darkness will come for him as relentlessly as he once pursued you. But now, it is not only his fate that is at stake, it is yours. Because if he could not kill you, they will find another who will. But this time, you are not alone. Something has shifted, something irreversible. He was sent to erase you, but instead, he has become your shield. He stands at your side, no longer as the hunter, but as the protector. The very forces that once commanded him will now hunt him, and the war that has long raged in the unseen world will soon bleed into this one. The same darkness that shaped him will try to reclaim him, to drag him back into the abyss. And worse, they will try to erase you again, because if he could not do it, they will find someone who will not hesitate. But this time, hesitation will not be his weakness. It will be his strength. He has turned his back on the only life he has ever known, and for the first time, he does not regret it. The weight that once held him captive has lifted, replaced by something unfamiliar yet undeniable. Purpose. Not the kind forced upon him, but the kind he has chosen. He does not know what comes next, does not know if redemption is even possible for one like him. But if there is one thing he is certain of, it is this: no one will ever touch you again. The hunt has ended. The battle has begun. But this is not just a story. It is a mirror. How many times has darkness tried to silence you? How many times have unseen forces sought to break you, to convince you that you were not strong enough to survive? And yet, you are still here. You are not a mistake. You are not an accident. You are a force that defies what was written, a light that refuses to be extinguished. And like him, you have a choice: to remain bound by the chains that were placed upon you, or to break free. Destiny has brought you to this moment. The question is, what will you do with it? Because the story is far from over. The battle is only beginning. If this message resonated with you, if something deep within you stirred as you listened, then you are already on the path meant for you. Do not turn away. Do not let the world silence the truth inside you. stand in it, walk in it. And if you are ready to uncover more, if you are ready to step into the story that has always been waiting for you, then subscribe now and join us on this journey. Because what comes next is something you won't want to miss. Thank you for being here. And remember, your destiny has already been written. Now it's time to live it. They never saw it coming. They laughed when you struggled. They doubted you when you tried. They mocked you when you failed. And now they're choking on their own arrogance, watching you walk away as their world crumbles. This isn't just an exit, it's a reckoning. They never thought you'd break free. They believed they had you trapped, locked inside their twisted little game. You were their convenience, their safety net, their endless source of energy. They never realized the power you held, the strength you concealed beneath your silence. Because the chosen ones, we don't just leave. We erase our presence so completely that they have no choice but to face the cold, bitter truth. Without us, they are nothing. They'll call it dramatic. They'll pretend to be shocked. They'll whisper about how you changed, how you turned cold. But the truth, you didn't change. You woke up. You realized that staying wasn't loyalty. It was a slow death. And survival meant choosing yourself over the ones who only loved you when they could use you. Here's the ugly truth. Most people don't miss you. They miss what you did for them. It's not love they're grieving. It's their loss of control. The comfort you once gave them is gone, and now they're left with the emptiness they tried to bury beneath your sacrifice. But the best part? You didn't leave with anger. You didn't beg. You didn't scream. You just walked out. And that's what haunts them the most. Because silence is the loudest goodbye, and indifference is the most brutal revenge. This isn't just about walking away. This is about reclaiming your power. The power they pretended you didn't have. The power they tried to drain from you. But here's what they never understood. A chosen one's power doesn't fade. It evolves. They're stuck in the ruins of their own delusion, while you rise. And to you, the one who finally walked away, the one who refused to be caged, this is your moment. If you've been here from the start or just found your way into this space, know this: you are not alone. This is where the ones who broke free come together. So if you're ready to stand firm in your decision, if you're ready to never look back and to own the power they never wanted you to realize, smash that like button, hit subscribe, and drop 77 in the comments to mark the moment you chose yourself over them. And now, let's break it down, step by step. Because trust me, if you're truly one of the chosen ones, you'll feel it. The pull, the truth, the fire. Stay with me until the end, because by the time we're done, you'll never question your decision again. Number 1. You were there but never seen. They didn't lose you. They lost the privilege of your presence. And now, all they have left is the echo of what they never appreciated. They sit in disbelief, wondering how you could walk away so easily. But the truth is, you were already gone long before you left. You had been fading for a long time, slipping away in quiet moments, in forced smiles, in sighs that went unnoticed. You were there, but never truly seen. You existed in the background, a steady presence they relied on but never acknowledged. They mistook your silence for submission, your patience for acceptance, your endurance for an obligation to stay. You were expected to be there, to give, to sacrifice, to bend, because that's what you always did. They never questioned your presence because they assumed it was permanent. But what they failed to realize is that no one stays where they are invisible forever. Every moment they overlooked you, every time they dismissed your needs, every instance where they made you feel small, those were the cracks forming in the foundation. And by the time they noticed, it was too late. You had already withdrawn, your heart had already left, And when you finally walked away, it wasn't an impulsive decision. It was inevitable. Now, they sit in the emptiness they created, forced to confront the truth they never wanted to face. You weren't a convenience. You weren't an afterthought. You were the light they took for granted. And now that you're gone, they are left with nothing but the cold reality of what they lost. And this time, you're not coming back. Number 2, they drained your light, then cried in the darkness. They thought your light was infinite, like the sun always there, always shining, always giving without question. They took from you endlessly, basking in your warmth, feeding off your energy, using your strength to hold themselves together. You were the fire that kept them warm, the steady glow that lit their path, and they never once stopped to wonder what would happen if you had nothing left to give. They assumed you would always be there, strong and unwavering, because that's who you were, the one who carried the weight, the one who solved the problems, the one who made life easier. They never noticed when you started to dim. They were too busy enjoying your light, too consumed with their own comfort, to see that the fire inside you was flickering, that the exhaustion was creeping in, that you were running on empty. And then, one day, the light went out. Not with a dramatic explosion, not with a fiery storm, but with quiet finality. You had given all you had, and there was nothing left. And suddenly, they were left in the darkness, lost and panicked, struggling to navigate a world without your warmth. They didn't miss you, they missed what you did for them. They missed the way you softened their chaos, the way you carried what they refused to hold, the way you made everything easier. But here's the painful truth. Light is not free. It needs care, respect, and reciprocity. And when those things are missing, even the brightest flame will burn out. Now they sit in the cold, desperate for the glow they once took for granted. But you're gone, and this time they'll have to learn to survive the darkness on their own. Number 3, shattering the illusion, escaping the cage they built for you. They didn't fear losing you. They feared you, realizing you never needed them in the first place. The cage they built around you was never made of bars. It was woven from pretty words, love, loyalty, duty, wrapped in the illusion of safety. They made it seem like protection, like something built to keep you safe. But the truth, it was never about your safety. It was about keeping you small. They needed you predictable, manageable, easy to control, a piece that fit neatly into their carefully crafted puzzle, never disrupting their world. You weren't supposed to think beyond the walls they placed around you. You weren't supposed to question the limits they set, but you did. At first, it was just a feeling, a tightness in your chest, a whisper in the back of your mind telling you something wasn't right. You ignored it, convincing yourself this was just how things were. Maybe if you shrank yourself just a little more, if you became just a little quieter, you could make it work. But then, something shifted. Maybe it was a single moment of clarity. Maybe it was 1,000 little moments of dismissal, disrespect, and being unseen. But suddenly, the cage wasn't invisible anymore. You saw it for what it was, a prison disguised as a home. And once you saw it, you couldn't unsee it. So, you started pushing, testing the walls, reclaiming space, becoming who you were always meant to be. And that's when the panic set in. They saw you changing, growing, refusing to be contained, and they hated it. Not because they loved you, but because they loved controlling you. Now they call you selfish, ungrateful, even cruel. But let's be clear, you didn't leave them. You left the version of yourself that fit inside their cage. You left the silence, the smallness, the endless need for their approval. And the final bitter truth? They can't follow you. They were never willing to grow, never willing to break their own chains. So now all they can do is watch as you rise, knowing that they never had the power. You were just waiting to take it back. Number 4, how walking away took their power. Their power over you was never real. It was an illusion. And the moment you walked away, you shattered it. For so long, they played their game well, wrapping their control in pretty words: concern, loyalty, love. But make no mistake, it was never love. It was power disguised as care. Every decision you made was quietly influenced. Every boundary you set was blurred just enough to keep you trapped. And every time you doubted them, they fed you just enough validation to keep you coming back. They believed they had you locked in, convinced that you would always seek their approval, that their opinions could shape your choices, that you needed them. That belief was their safety net, their illusion of power. But the moment you walked away, you ripped it to shreds. They weren't prepared for this. They thought guilt, obligation, and the fear they planted in you would keep you bound to them forever. They miscalculated. They underestimated you. Because the moment you realized that their power only existed as long as you allowed it, it was over. You didn't leave in anger. You didn't leave for revenge. You left because you outgrew the lies. You saw through the manipulation, the guilt trips, the mind games. You stopped bending, stopped shrinking, stopped second-guessing yourself just to fit into their world. You reclaimed yourself. And that was the most dangerous thing you could have done in their eyes. Now they are scrambling, lost in a world where you no longer play by their rules. They sit in disbelief, asking themselves how this happened. But the answer is simple. Their power was never real. It only worked because you let it. And now that you're gone, their empire of control has collapsed into nothing. They built their strength on the illusion that you would never leave. And you just proved them wrong. Number 5. The loss that leaves scars when nothing can replace you. Some losses are temporary, but others leave scars so deep that nothing ever grows there again. Your absence isn't just noticed, it's felt. When you left, it wasn't just a goodbye. It was a rupture, a tear in the fabric of their world. The kind of absence that doesn't fade with time. It lingers, it echoes, it haunts. They thought they could move on, replace you, patch up the gap with someone new. But some spaces can't be filled. You weren't just another person in their life. You were the glue that held everything together, the steady force that kept things from falling apart, the one who made sense of their chaos, who brought light into their dull existence. You were the quit foundation, the overlooked constant, and now that you're gone, that foundation is gone too. They never saw you that way before. You were just there, like air, unnoticed until it's missing, like gravity, never questioned until the fall. They assumed you'd always be around, that no matter how much they ignored you, used you, overlooked you, you'd still show up, still pour into them, still hold everything together. But now they're choking on the emptiness. Your absence is loud. It rings in every awkward silence, in every mistake they can't fix, in every hollow moment where something just feels wrong. They try to drown it out, to cover it up with distractions, with substitutes, with empty reassurances that they'll be fine. But they won't. Because deep down they know the truth. They lost something irreplaceable. They don't just miss you. They miss the version of their life that worked because of you. And now, they're left with nothing but the cold realization that they had something extraordinary, and they ruined it. They thought life would go on seamlessly, that someone else could take your place. But what they're realizing slowly, painfully, is that your absence isn't just a gap. It's a wound, one that won't heal, one they can't ignore, one they'll be forced to live with day after day, as a reminder of what they lost when they let you go. Number 6. They fed off your strength. Now they're starving. They never truly loved you. They loved the way you held their world together while yours was quietly falling apart. They fed off your resilience as if it were endless, as if you were some unshakable force placed in their life to absorb every storm they refused to face. When their lives spiraled, They ran to you. When their emotions crashed, they leaned on you. When everything was chaos, they turned to you to fix it. You were their foundation, their shelter, their quiet savior. But they never stopped to ask who was holding you up. You made it look effortless, didn't you? You carried their burdens with a calm face, swallowed your struggles in silence, and kept everything running smoothly, no matter how much it drained you. And because you never broke, they assumed you never would. That was their mistake. They mistook your endurance for duty, your patience for permission. They believed your strength was something they could use rather than something you needed to protect. But resilience isn't infinite. It isn't a well that never runs dry. You gave and gave and gave until there was nothing left. And then, you finally walked away. You finally chose yourself over them. And in that moment, they didn't just lose a person, they lost their safety net. Now, the cracks are showing. The weight of their dysfunction, once hidden beneath your quiet sacrifices, is exposed. The same people who dismissed your struggles are now gasping for air, drowning in the very chaos you once managed for them. They thought they could depend on you forever, that you would always be there no matter how little they gave in return. They never imagined a world where they would have to stand on their own. But now, they have no choice. For the first time, they are forced to deal with the wreckage, the mess you shielded them from for far too long. Let them panic. Let them struggle. Because now, they're seeing what life looks like without the one person who held it all together. And this time, you're not coming back to save them. Number 7. They can imitate you, but they can't replace you. They thought they could replace you, that someone else could step in, fill the space you left, and life would go on as if you were never there. To them, your presence was just another role to be played, another script to be followed. But they were wrong. Dead wrong. Because when you left, you didn't just take your body, you took the one thing they could never recreate, your authenticity. They can try to mimic your words, repeat your actions, even attach themselves to someone who vaguely resembles you. But they're learning the hard way that authenticity isn't something you can fake, rent, or steal. It's either in you or it's not. And that's where they're drowning. They built their world on illusions, on pretending, on pleasing, on bending to fit whatever mold made them feel accepted. But you were different. You spoke what you meant and meant what you spoke. You saw what others ignored. You refused to be anything but yourself. That scared them. That challenged them. And instead of rising to meet you, they chose to take from you. Now the cracks in their world are showing. The forced laughter, the shallow conversations, the empty gestures, it's all hollow. No matter how hard they try, they can't recreate what made you special. Because what you brought wasn't just energy, it was depth. And that can't be copied. Now they're scrambling, filling their time with distractions, with stand-ins, with anything that numbs the realization creeping into their minds. You were one of one. The connection you gave, the presence you carried, the fire in your words, it wasn't just valuable. It was irreplaceable. And the worst part? They know it. They might act unbothered, might surround themselves with noise to drown out the silence your absence left behind. But deep down, they feel it. They feel the void where your authenticity used to be, the raw, unfiltered realness that made everything around you matter. And no matter how much they pretend, that truth will haunt them. Because at the end of the day, they didn't just lose a person. They lost the only real thing they had. Number 8. Your absence is their mirror, and they can't look away. The cruelest truth isn't being abandoned. It's realizing you were the reason someone left. Your walking away wasn't just a loss to them. It was a brutal awakening. They thought they could handle life without you. But the moment you left, everything changed. Not just because you were gone, but because your absence held up a mirror they were never ready to face. They always saw you as the one who would stay, the one who would clean up their messes, smooth over their mistakes, and hold their fragile world together while they took you for granted. But the second you walked away, they were left staring at the cracks they ignored for so long, the ones you had been holding together. They leaned on your strength so they wouldn't have to build their own. They used your wisdom to cover up their poor decisions. They relied on your kindness to excuse their selfishness. As long as you were there, they could deflect, distract, and pretend. But now the silence screams. Now the empty space exposes everything. Without you, the truth is undeniable. Your departure forced them to ask the questions they were never ready to face. Why didn't I appreciate them when I had the chance? Why did I push them so far that they had no choice but to leave? But the hardest question of all, what does it say about me that someone so loyal, so giving, so rare decided I wasn't worth staying for? That thought is poison, because it's one thing to be abandoned. It's another to realize that you earned it. You were their shield, the buffer between them and their own flaws. And now, with no one left to cover their mistakes, their reflection is unforgiving. The toxic cycles they thought they could run forever are now laid bare. The manipulation they used to control you? Useless. The illusion of power they held over you? Gone. And the worst part? It's too late to fix any of it. They lost the best thing they had, and now, every single day, they are haunted by one unshakable truth. They were the reason you left. Number 9. They gambled on your guilt and lost everything. The moment you stopped feeling guilty for choosing yourself was the moment they lost their last weapon against you. They thought they had you locked in not by force, not by words, but by guilt. They built their control around the belief that you would always feel obligated to stay, to keep giving, to keep sacrificing even at your own expense. They counted on the idea that no matter how much they drained you, you'd never have the heart to leave. And for a long time, their plan worked. The emotional weight they placed on your shoulders was never loud or obvious. It was quiet, calculated, a contract you never signed but were always expected to uphold. They made you feel like walking away was selfish, like choosing yourself was a betrayal. Every time you considered leaving, they fed you the same poison. After all I've done for you, you wouldn't just leave me like that. I thought you cared. And for a while, you believed it. You second-guessed yourself. You stayed when you should have left. You gave when you had nothing left. You let their expectations dictate your life because they convinced you that love, friendship, or loyalty meant putting yourself last. But then something shifted, a quiet moment of clarity, a realization so sharp it cut through all the noise. You saw the game for what it was. The guilt they used against you was nothing more than a leash, a tool to keep you small, to keep you available, to keep you under control. And the moment you understood that, everything changed. You left. No hesitation, no looking back, no apologies. And that broke them. Not just because you were gone, but because they lost the grip they thought they had on you. They never expected you to walk away without guilt eating you alive. They never thought you'd wake up and realize that loyalty without reciprocity is nothing more than self-destruction. Now they sit there, replaying it over and over, trying to make sense of how you slipped through their fingers. But they fail to see the truth: they never had you in the first place. They only had your guilt. Number 10. You were their comfort. Now you're their wake-up call. Some lessons are learned in whispers, others in the deafening silence of someone who's never coming back. They thought they had time to push you aside, time to take you for granted, time to play their mind games and assume you'd always be there to clean up their mess. But time just ran out. Your departure wasn't just a goodbye. It was a siren blasting through their delusions, a wrecking ball slamming into their false sense of security. They never imagined a world where you weren't waiting in the background, always ready to forgive, always willing to sacrifice. And now they're drowning in the consequences of their own arrogance. Every misstep they made, every choice they neglected, every moment they ignored your worth, it all comes crashing down on them. They're waking up, but it's too late. They took, assuming you'd always have more to give. They dismissed your pain, brushed aside your needs, and still believed they could keep you tied to them. They assumed you would bend forever, never realizing that one day you would break free. Now, your silence is their loudest punishment. They look around and feel the emptiness where you used to be. They reach for you, but you're gone. And every single day, they are haunted by what they lost. The comfort of knowing you'd always return? Gone. The certainty that they could always get one more chance? Gone. The belief that you needed them more than they needed you? Completely shattered. They can distract themselves, fill their time with noise, surround themselves with temporary replacements, but nothing feels the same. Because you weren't just another person in their life. You were the anchor, the balance, the force that made things work. And now, they have to sit in the wreckage of their own making. The worst part? They did this to themselves. They had something rare, something extraordinary, and they let it slip through their fingers. And now, every second without you is a painful reminder of just how badly they failed. But you're done being their lesson. Let them wake up alone, because you're never looking back. Number 11. The fire they took for granted. Some people spend their lives trapped in a world of gray, safe, predictable, and painfully ordinary. They settle for the familiar, surrounding themselves with mediocrity, never daring to disrupt the dull rhythm of their existence. And then, you walked in. You weren't just another presence in their orbit. You were the exception, a force of nature, a fire that burned through their comfort, exposing the cracks they refused to see. You made them feel something real, something they were never brave enough to chase on their own. Without even trying, you shook their world. Your energy, your ambition, your authenticity, it all stood in sharp contrast to the life they had built around convenience and complacency. You reminded them that life is more than just existing. You were proof that something extraordinary was possible, and that terrified them. Because the truth is, people like them don't want to rise. They want to remain. They crave stability, even if it means settling for less. They talk about greatness, but refuse to do the work to achieve it. And you were living proof of what they could be, if only they had the courage to try. But instead of rising to meet you, they resented you for it. It's easier to hate the fire than admit you're afraid of burning. They tried to dim you, contain you, make you smaller, not because they didn't see your light, but because they were afraid of what it exposed in them. And now, the illusion is shattered. They thought they could return to their ordinary world, but something is missing, something they can't replace. The space you once filled is now a hollow void, a reminder of everything they ignored, everything they could have been, and everything they will never become. Because they didn't just lose you. They lost their only chance at more. Number 12. They never loved you. They wanted to own you. They never truly loved you. They loved controlling you. You weren't a person to them. You were a piece in their puzzle, a character in their carefully crafted story. Your presence made their life easier. Your energy kept their world spinning, but your freedom? Your right to choose? That was never part of the deal. They never imagined a version of life where you were no longer at their command. You were supposed to stay exactly where they placed you, bending, adjusting, shrinking to fit their expectations. They mistook your kindness for obedience, your patience for permanence, and your loyalty for self-abandonment. To them, you weren't an individual with needs and dreams of your own. You were a comfort, a stability, a certainty. For too long, they operated under the illusion that you would always prioritize their wants over your own, that your boundaries were mere suggestions, that your identity was flexible enough to be shaped by their hands. They convinced themselves that you would always play along so they'd never have to face the truth they never truly respected you. And just like that, their illusion shattered. Because your leaving wasn't just about walking away, it was about rejecting the cage they put you in. You tore up the unspoken contract that said you had to give, that you had to tolerate, that you had to stay small so they could feel big. And when you walked out, you took something with you, the power they thought they had over you. Now they're left with a brutal truth. The version of you they loved never even existed. It was a projection, a construct they built in their mind. And the real you, the one who refuses to be controlled, the one who walks away without looking back, that's the you they never wanted to see. They don't grieve your absence. They grieve the loss of control. And that is what haunts them the most. They expected a reaction, a dramatic farewell. They thought you'd cry, beg, or plead for them to see your worth. They waited for anger, for heartbreak, for one last desperate attempt to hold on. But instead, you did the one thing they never prepared for. You simply walked away. No fights, no explanations, no lingering goodbyes. And that is what terrifies them the most. They thought they had time to manipulate, time to guilt trip, time to pull you back in just like they always had. They mistook your patience for permanence, your endurance for acceptance. They believed you were so deeply entangled in their world that you'd never find the strength to leave. But what they failed to realize was that your patience wasn't endless. It was a countdown. And when the last second ticked away, you were gone. This wasn't about revenge. It wasn't about making a statement. It was about something far more powerful, self-respect. You didn't ask for permission. You didn't need their understanding. Because when you finally recognize your worth, you don't negotiate it. And now they are haunted by the finality of it all. For the first time, they see the truth their power over you was never real. It was a fragile illusion, one that only existed because you allowed it. The moment you chose yourself, their entire world collapsed. They call you selfish, cold, heartless. But what they really mean is, how dare you choose yourself over us? Because they were never afraid of losing you. They were afraid of losing control over you. And now that they have, they are left with nothing but the wreckage of their own choices. Your silence, it's the loudest thing they've ever heard, and it will haunt them forever. But here's the truth. They were never meant to hold that kind of power over you. Choosing yourself was never selfish. It was necessary. Walking away wasn't heartless. It was survival. And now, as you stand in your peace, free from their grasp, you realize something powerful. You were never the problem. The weight they placed on you was never yours to carry. And by letting go, you didn't just free yourself. You exposed the truth they tried so hard to bury. Thank you for watching. If this message spoke to you, remember, you are never alone. Your voice matters, your strength is real, and your journey has purpose. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more powerful stories and reflections. Your support means everything and helps us continue creating content that uplifts and empowers. Until next time, stay strong, Chosen One. Chosen ones, hear me. What I am about to share with you is not just another message. This is a divine revelation, a word you cannot afford to ignore. If you are here right now, it is not by coincidence. God Himself has led you to this moment because He knows this message is meant for you. Everything I am about to tell you is not my own wisdom. It is a divine instruction from the Almighty. The Word of God is alive, sharper than any two-edged sword. It carries the power to break chains, open doors, and lead you into your destiny. So listen closely. What you are about to hear has the power to transform your life forever. The Word of God is not just ink on paper. It breathes, it moves, it transforms. It is the same Word that spoke light into the darkness at the beginning of time. The same Word that healed the sick, raised the dead, and calmed the raging storms. And today, that same word is coming to you, to breathe life into every dry place in your soul, to shatter every chain that has held you back, and to realign you with the purpose God set for you before the foundation of the world. So do not harden your heart. Do not let distractions steal this moment. Because when God speaks, mountains bow, demons tremble, and the heavens open. Right now, in this very moment, He is speaking directly to you. Will you listen? Will you receive it? I urge you, silence every distraction and open your heart. Receive this word with expectation, because when God speaks, everything changes. And today, change is coming to you. Have you ever found yourself asking, why is my life so difficult? Why does it feel like every burden is placed on my shoulders? Why am I constantly fighting battles that others seem to avoid? You look around and see people living with ease, seemingly untouched by the storms that rage around you. While others walk freely, you are carrying a weight so heavy that at times it feels unbearable. You struggle, you sacrifice, and you pour into others, yet you often feel unappreciated and unseen. You wonder why it always has to be you, the one who figures things out, the one who stands in the gap, the one who bears the weight of responsibility while others seem to drift through life without a care. Let me tell you why. Because you were chosen. You were never meant to walk an ordinary path. You were never meant to have an easy life. God has set you apart for something greater, and that greatness comes with a price. You are not just here to survive. You are here to build, to sustain, to multiply, and to establish something that will outlast you. That is why your battles are greater. That is why your storms are more intense. That is why the enemy has fought so hard to break you, because he knows the calling on your life is too powerful to be ignored. The struggles you face are not random. They are a necessary preparation. God is not punishing you. He is building you. Look at the foundation of a house. If the walls crack, they can be repaired. If the roof leaks, it can be fixed. But if the foundation is weak, the entire house will collapse. That is why your journey has been different, because you are a foundation. A family, a community, even a nation cannot stand without strong foundations, and you are one of those pillars. That is why you have endured rejection, isolation, and betrayal. That is why you have fought battles in silence while others remained oblivious. Because God is making you strong. Weak people cannot carry great responsibilities. Shallow people cannot uphold generations. Easily shaken people cannot be trusted with divine assignments. And so God has allowed you to be tested, refined, and molded into someone unshakable. When you look at the lives of those called by God, you will see the same pattern. Joseph was betrayed and thrown into a pit before he reached the palace. Moses was rejected and forced into the wilderness before he led Israel to freedom. David was hunted like a fugitive before he took his rightful place on the throne. Even Jesus himself, the Son of God, was despised, rejected, and abandoned in his darkest hour. Their struggles were not punishments, they were preparations. And your struggles are no different. The weight is heavy because the assignment is great. You are not just anyone. You are called. You are chosen. And if God has entrusted you with this burden, He has also given you the strength to carry it. Do not despise your battles. They are shaping you into the leader, the protector, the foundation that God designed you to be. Your hardship is not the end of your story. It is the preparation for something greater than you can imagine. When we think of a breadwinner, the world often defines it as someone who provides financially for their family. But in God's eyes, a true breadwinner is much more than just a provider of money and material needs. They are sustainers, multipliers, and preservers of destinies. They do not merely survive. They build, prepare, and ensure that what is entrusted to them is not only maintained but multiplied for future generations. One of the greatest biblical examples of a true breadwinner is Joseph. His story is not just about survival. It is about divine strategy, wisdom, and stewardship that saved not only a nation, but also the generations that followed. Joseph was betrayed by his own brothers, sold into slavery, falsely accused, and thrown into prison. Yet through all of this, God was shaping him, preparing him for the moment when he would rise to become a leader who would sustain millions. During the years of abundance in Egypt, Joseph did not waste what he had. He stored it, managed it wisely, and prepared for the famine that was to come. Tells us that when the famine struck, while other lands suffered in lack, Egypt had food because of Joseph's foresight and divine wisdom. He did not just think about the present, he thought generationally. He did not just provide for his family, he positioned himself to sustain entire nations. This is what separates a mere provider from a true breadwinner. A provider gives what is needed for today. A breadwinner builds so that others will not lack tomorrow. Joseph's journey teaches us 3 critical lessons about what it means to be a true breadwinner. First, preparation is key. Breadwinners do not live just for the moment. They prepare for the future. Joseph did not wait until the famine came to act. He made strategic decisions long before the crisis arrived. Second, breadwinners know how to manage resources wisely. They are not wasteful, nor are they reckless. They recognize that what they have is not just for them, but for those they are called to sustain. Third, true breadwinners multiply. Joseph did not merely ensure survival. He used wisdom and divine strategy to turn a crisis into an opportunity for abundance. His leadership did not just feed people for a season, it preserved generations. This is your calling. You are not meant to live in survival mode, constantly struggling just to get by. You are meant to thrive, multiply, and build a legacy that will impact those who come after you. Like Joseph, God has placed in you the ability to create, sustain, and expand. But with that ability comes a responsibility to steward it wisely, to manage it with diligence, and to trust that God will provide the strength and wisdom needed to fulfill your assignment. What will you do with what God has given you? Will you merely survive, or will you rise as a true breadwinner, a foundation upon which generations can stand? The choice is yours. There are moments in life when the burdens we carry feel too heavy to bear. The pressures of responsibility, the weight of expectations, and the struggles that seem unending can leave us feeling exhausted and overwhelmed. In these moments, it's easy to wonder if we have the strength to continue. We question whether we're capable of handling everything that life throws our way. The nights feel longer, the days feel harder, and the hope that once burned brightly seems to flicker. But even in the heaviest moments, we are not alone. Throughout the Bible, we see countless examples of people who carried immense burdens. Moses, tasked with leading an entire nation through the wilderness. David, pursued by enemies while clinging to God's promises. Paul, imprisoned and beaten, yet steadfast in his faith. Yet in every struggle, God provided strength. He reminded them that they were never meant to carry their burdens alone. Jesus himself extended an invitation to the weary, saying, "Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest." This promise is not just for those in the past, it is for us today. When the weight feels unbearable, we must remember that we were never designed to carry it by ourselves. God invites us to lay our worries at his feet, to trust that he is strong enough to sustain us. This does not mean our struggles will instantly disappear, but it does mean we are held by a God who walks with us through every storm. Instead of relying on our own strength, we can lean on his. Instead of being crushed by our burdens, we can surrender them to the one who has already overcome the world. So if you find yourself weary, take heart. You are not alone, and you are not forgotten. The same God who strengthened Moses, guided David, and upheld Paul is holding you too. Lay your burdens before him and allow his peace to fill the places where fear and exhaustion once lived. The weight may be heavy, but his grace is always greater. Carrying the weight of your calling can feel overwhelming, but it is not meant to break you. It is meant to shape you. One of the first steps to walking in your calling without crumbling under its weight is to stop seeing yourself as a victim. Challenges will come, but they are not meant to destroy you. They are meant to refine you. Instead of asking, Why me? Зрение. Сдвиньте перспективу и спросите: Господь, как я должен распоряжаться этим хорошо? Every difficulty is an opportunity for growth, and every hardship is shaping you into the person God has called you to be. Another key to sustaining your calling is understanding that you cannot pour from an empty cup. Even Jesus, who carried the greatest mission of all, regularly withdrew to pray. Taking time to recharge is not a sign of weakness, it is wisdom. When you prioritize your spiritual and emotional well-being, you are better equipped to fulfill your calling with endurance and joy. Beyond thinking about today, you must also think generationally. Proverbs 13:22 reminds us that a good man leaves an inheritance for his children's children. Your calling is not just about you, it is about those who will come after you. What you build today will impact future generations. Whether through your faith, your obedience, or the legacy you leave, your calling is part of a much bigger picture. Keeping this perspective will help you persevere when challenges arise. At times, you will be misunderstood. This is a reality that even great biblical leaders faced. Joseph was despised by his own brothers. David's family doubted his ability. Jesus himself was rejected in his hometown. Not everyone will understand your calling, and that is okay. You do not need validation from everyone, only faithfulness to the one who called you. Above all, remember that God is your ultimate source. You are not the one who sustains your calling. He is. Philippians 4:19 assures us that God will supply all your needs according to his riches and glory. You do not have to carry this weight alone. Surrender your burdens, trust in his provision, and walk forward with confidence, knowing that he who called you is faithful to sustain you. Heavenly Father, I come before you today, lifting up every person listening to this message, every man, every woman who carries the weight of provision for their family. Lord, you see their struggles, their silent prayers, and the burdens they carry. Many are weary, many feel overwhelmed, but you are their strength, their refuge, and their provider. Right now, in the mighty name of Jesus, I declare a breakthrough over their lives. Father, I pray that every chain of struggle be broken. Let every spirit of heaviness be lifted, and every financial burden be overturned. You are Jehovah Jireh, our provider, and I trust that you are already making a way where there seems to be no way. No attack of the enemy will prosper against them, for you are their shield and defender. Strengthen them, Lord, not just physically but emotionally and spiritually. Fill their hearts with peace and their minds with clarity. Let them know that they are not alone in this journey. Pour out supernatural provision, divine favor, and unexpected blessings over their lives. Open doors of opportunity, multiply the work of their hands, and guide them in wisdom as they steward their resources. Let them walk in victory, prosperity, and the fullness of their divine purpose. May they never forget that they are not just providing for their families. They are laying a foundation of faith, perseverance, and legacy. And Lord, I thank you for them. Thank you for their sacrifices, their love, and their dedication. May they feel seen, valued, and appreciated, not just by their families, but by you, the one who rewards those who trust in you. I declare over them today, they are chosen, they are covered, they are victorious. In Jesus' mighty name, Amen. If this word spoke to you, let's subscribe, share, and sow into this mission, because you are not just a breadwinner, you are a history maker. God bless you. Let me begin by asking you a question that may seem simple at first, but I want you to truly reflect on it. What are you allowing into your life right now that could be silently lowering your vibration? Because here's the truth. Your life, your energy, and your reality are all deeply intertwined with the vibrational frequency you hold. Everything you touch, physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, either elevates you or weighs you down. As a chosen one, your energy is sacred. It is the light that fuels your purpose, the force that attracts blessings, and the key to manifesting the reality you were destined to live. But if you are serious about stepping into your purpose, if you are truly committed to maintaining high vibrations, you must be mindful of the things that lower your frequency. Now, have you ever felt a heaviness in your spirit after engaging with something or someone that drained your energy? That sense of unease when you ignored your intuition and interacted with something that just didn't feel right? Yet how often do we dismiss those feelings? How often do we convince ourselves that it's harmless, that it doesn't really matter, that we can rise above it? But here's something you must understand. Energy is contagious. Vibrations are real, and everything in this world, from people to ideas to emotions, carries a frequency. When you engage with something of a lower vibration, no matter how strong you think you are, it affects you. It pulls you down, sometimes so subtly that you don't even realize it until it's too late. So let's get into it. If you are truly dedicated to keeping your vibrations high, there are certain things you must never touch. The first and most dangerous thing you must avoid is toxic relationships. And this isn't just about romantic relationships. It extends to every connection in your life, including friendships, family members, co-workers, and even acquaintances who bring negativity into your space. Toxicity does not always come in obvious forms. Sometimes it hides behind the mask of familiarity, obligation, or even love. But regardless of how it presents itself, one undeniable truth remains. These relationships have the power to lower your vibration, drain your energy, and pull you away from your highest self. You know exactly who these people are. They are the ones who criticize more than they encourage, who gossip instead of uplift, who seem to take more from you than they ever give. These are the individuals who operate from a place of negativity, who constantly complain, judge, and spread fear. And while it's easy to justify keeping them around, because of shared history, because they are family, because you don't want to seem unkind, the reality is that every relationship is an energy exchange. Every time you engage with someone, you are absorbing some of their energy, while also giving away some of your own. If you are constantly surrounded by those who vibrate at a lower frequency, it is only a matter of time before their energy begins to influence you, subtly shifting your thoughts, emotions, and even your perception of yourself. Yet, despite knowing how draining these connections can be, many of us continue to hold on. Why? Because of fear. The fear of being alone, the fear of confrontation, or the fear of change. We tell ourselves that we owe these relationships something, that walking away would be selfish or cruel. Some of us believe we can fix them, that if we just love them enough, support them enough, or guide them in the right direction, they will change. But here's a hard truth that many chosen ones struggle to accept. You cannot pour from an empty cup, and you cannot save someone who refuses to save themselves. No matter how much love and light you bring into a relationship, if the other person is unwilling to rise, they will only pull you down in the process. And here's the dangerous part. This kind of energy drain does not always happen suddenly or dramatically. More often than not, it is a slow and subtle erosion of your spirit. One negative conversation at a time. One instance of self-doubt planted by their words. One moment of absorbing their pessimism and carrying it as your own. Before you know it, you find yourself more anxious, more doubtful, more exhausted than before, wondering why your light feels dimmer and your energy feels heavier. So how do you break free? The first step is awareness. Recognizing the relationships that are no longer serving your highest good is essential. Pay attention to how you feel after interacting with someone. Do you feel uplifted, inspired, and aligned? Or do you feel drained, frustrated, and disconnected from yourself? Your emotions are your greatest guide. They will always reveal who is adding to your energy and who is depleting it. Once you have identified the toxic connections in your life, the next step is the hardest one: letting go. This does not always mean cutting people off completely, but it does mean setting firm boundaries and protecting your energy. Some people will not understand your decision to step back, and that is okay. You do not owe anyone an explanation for choosing peace over chaos, light over darkness, or self-preservation over self-sacrifice. This journey is not easy. You may grieve the loss of certain relationships, even if you know they were unhealthy. But remember this: growth often requires separation. Just as a tree must shed its dead leaves to make room for new growth, you must release what is no longer serving you to make space for what is meant to flourish in your life. Protecting your vibration is not selfish. It is necessary. Your energy is sacred, and it should only be shared with those who respect and honor it. If someone is not contributing to your growth, your joy, and your higher purpose, then they do not deserve a front row seat in your life. At the end of the day, being a chosen one means being discerning about who and what you allow into your energetic space. Not everyone who is drawn to your light is meant to walk this path with you. Some people come into your life as lessons, while others are meant to walk beside you as blessings. The key is knowing the difference and having the courage to release anything that no longer aligns with your highest self. Now, let's talk about something even more subtle but just as dangerous: the content you consume. In today's world, we are constantly bombarded with information. Think about how much time we spend scrolling through social media, watching TV, listening to music, reading the news, or even just mindlessly absorbing whatever pops up on our screens. Content is everywhere, and it never stops. The question is, what are you allowing into your mind? Most people don't realize that every word, every image, every sound carries a vibration. Everything you expose yourself to has the potential to either elevate your energy or lower it. Some content is uplifting, inspiring, and aligned with the frequency you are trying to hold. But much of it is not. In fact, a significant portion of the content we consume daily is designed to do the exact opposite. It is programmed to keep you in fear, trap you in comparison, and hold you in a mindset of judgment and lack. Social media, for example, can be one of the biggest culprits. We scroll mindlessly, consuming a mix of negativity, unrealistic standards, and carefully curated versions of people's lives that make us feel as though we are falling behind. Without realizing it, we begin to compare ourselves to these filtered realities, questioning our own worth and accomplishments. We see headlines designed to provoke anxiety, influencers promoting unattainable lifestyles, and endless opinions that may not align with our truth, yet somehow infiltrate our subconscious. And the scariest part? We don't even realize it's happening. We tell ourselves, it's just entertainment, it's just background noise, or it doesn't really affect me. But here's the truth. The content you consume becomes the thoughts you think, and the thoughts you think shape the reality you create. Every single time you expose yourself to fear-based news, gossip, or negativity, you are allowing that energy into your mental space. Every time you listen to music with lyrics that glorify pain, anger, or self-destruction, you are reinforcing those emotions within yourself. Every time you engage with content that promotes scarcity, insecurity, or division, you are programming your mind to see the world through that lens. And it doesn't just stop at social media or music. The movies you watch, the books you read, the conversations you engage in, all of it contributes to your mental and emotional state. If you are not consciously choosing what you allow into your mind, then the world is programming it for you. So, ask yourself, are you consuming content that elevates you or content that lowers you? Because here's the thing. Your mind is the most powerful tool you have for creating your reality. Whatever you feed it consistently will become the foundation of your thoughts, emotions, and ultimately, your actions. If you constantly expose yourself to negativity, fear, and division, you will begin to see the world through that perspective. But if you choose to fill your mind with wisdom, inspiration, and high vibrational content, your perception of life will shift accordingly. The good news? You have control. You get to decide what you engage with. You get to curate your mental diet just as carefully as you would your physical one. Just as you wouldn't willingly consume poison, you must learn to avoid mental toxins that weaken your energy and keep you stuck in lower frequencies. Here's how you can start protecting your mind. Be intentional about your content choices. Before engaging with anything, whether it's a movie, a book, or a social media post, ask yourself, how will this affect my energy? Does this align with the vibration I want to hold? If it doesn't serve you, don't engage. Unfollow negativity. Social media can be a powerful tool when used wisely. If a page, account, or channel constantly spreads fear, drama, or unrealistic comparisons, unfollow it. Surround your feed with content that uplifts, educates, and inspires. Limit news consumption. Staying informed is important, but being bombarded with fear-driven headlines daily is not. The media thrives on sensationalism, and constant exposure to negative news can leave you feeling anxious, hopeless, and drained. Choose when and how you receive information, and focus on solutions rather than problems. Be mindful of music and entertainment. Lyrics, stories, and images have a profound effect on the subconscious mind. Pay attention to what you're listening to and watching. If the energy behind it is destructive, chaotic, or heavy, consider choosing something more uplifting. Prioritize real-world experiences. Instead of spending hours consuming content online, engage with real life. Read books that expand your mind. Have meaningful conversations with people who inspire you. Spend time in nature, meditate, and connect with yourself. At the end of the day, your mind is sacred space. Guard it fiercely. The world will always try to pull you into distraction, fear, and comparison, but you have the power to choose what you engage with. The more intentional you are about the content you consume, the higher your vibration will be, and the more aligned you will become with the life you were meant to live. But it's not just the people you surround yourself with or the content you consume that you need to be mindful of. It's also your own habits. The things you do when no one is watching, the choices you make daily, the way you treat your body, your mind, and your spirit. All of these play a significant role in shaping your energy. Whether you realize it or not, every action you take carries a vibration. Some actions strengthen your energy, elevate your frequency, and bring you closer to your higher self. Others weaken you, drain your vitality, and pull you away from your true purpose. So let's talk about the aspects of your daily life that silently influence your vibration. Number 1. The foods you eat, fuel or poison. Your body is the vessel that carries your energy in this physical world. What you put into it directly affects how you feel, how you think, and how you function. Yet so many of us treat food as an afterthought, consuming whatever is convenient rather than what is nourishing. But here's something to consider. Food carries energy, just like everything else. Fresh, whole, and nutrient-dense foods, fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds, and natural, unprocessed ingredients are alive with energy. They fuel your body in a way that aligns with your natural state of vitality. On the other hand, highly processed foods, artificial ingredients, excessive sugar, and chemical-laden junk food are low vibrational and deplete your body's natural energy reserves. These foods may give you a temporary sense of satisfaction, but over time, they leave you feeling sluggish, drained, and disconnected from your highest self. Ask yourself, are you eating foods that nourish your body, or are you consuming things that leave you feeling heavy and lethargic? Because here's the truth. The more you fuel your body with high vibrational nutrition, the more aligned you become. Your mind becomes clearer, your intuition sharpens, and your physical energy strengthens, all of which contribute to maintaining a high frequency. Number 2. The thoughts you entertain. Your mind is a magnet. Your thoughts are like seeds. Whatever you plant in your mind will eventually grow into your reality. Every thought you entertain, whether positive or negative, carries a frequency. The question is, are you feeding your mind with empowering thoughts, or are you allowing negativity to take over? So many people unconsciously program their minds with self-doubt, fear, and limitation. They replay past mistakes, focus on what could go wrong, and tell themselves stories about why they're not good enough, not ready, or not capable. Over time, these thoughts shape their entire perception of life, creating a cycle of low vibrational energy that becomes difficult to break free from. But here's the good news. You have control over your thoughts. You are not obligated to believe everything your mind tells you. You have the power to redirect your focus, to reframe negativity, and to choose thoughts that align with your highest self. Ask yourself, do you wake up with a mindset of gratitude and possibility, or do you immediately focus on stress and problems? Your mind is a magnet. What you focus on, you attract. If you continuously allow yourself to dwell in negativity, you will lower your vibration and struggle to manifest the life you desire. But if you fill your mind with empowering thoughts, positive affirmations, and high-frequency beliefs, you will elevate yourself to a state of alignment and abundance. Number 3. How you spend your time. Purpose or distraction. Time is one of the most valuable resources you have, yet many people waste it on things that do not serve them, mindlessly scrolling through social media, binge-watching TV shows that add no value, engaging in gossip, or distracting themselves with activities that provide temporary satisfaction but no long-term fulfillment. Your energy follows your focus. If you spend most of your time on low vibrational activities, your energy will reflect that. But if you consciously choose to invest your time in things that uplift, inspire, and align with your purpose, you will naturally operate at a higher frequency. Ask yourself, are you spending your time on things that align with your purpose, or are you letting distractions consume you? The way you spend your time reflects what you value. If you truly want to maintain a high vibration, you must be intentional with your energy and ensure that your actions align with your higher self. Number 4. Living in alignment with your truth. Nothing lowers your vibration faster than betraying your own truth. When you say one thing but do another, when you ignore your intuition, when you compromise your values for the sake of convenience, approval, or fear, you create an internal disconnect, and that disconnect is like a leak in your energy field. It may be subtle at first, but over time, it drains you in ways you may not even realize. Every time you ignore your inner guidance, every time you allow external influences to dictate your choices, and every time you sacrifice your authenticity to fit in or please others, you weaken your energetic alignment. The result? A feeling of unease, dissatisfaction, and a loss of connection to your higher self. But here's the empowering truth. You can always realign. You can always choose to return to your truth, to honor your intuition, and to live in a way that reflects who you truly are. Ask yourself, are you making decisions that reflect your true values and beliefs, or are you allowing outside forces to dictate your path? Your energy is too valuable to be wasted on anything that is not in alignment with your soul's purpose. If something doesn't feel right, it's a sign that it's lowering your vibration. Honor that feeling. Protect your energy. Live in alignment with your truth, and your vibration will naturally rise. But let's go even deeper, because it's not just external things that lower your vibration. It's the internal ones too. The unseen burdens you carry within you, the thoughts you replay, the emotions you refuse to release. These can be even more damaging than the people or environments around you. How often do we allow our past to define us? We replay old wounds in our minds, reliving painful experiences as if feeling them again will somehow change what has already happened. We hold on to resentment, unable to forgive, believing that keeping the pain alive will somehow serve justice. We carry guilt over things we cannot undo, shame over moments where we fell short, and fear that we are still not enough. And then, there are the stories we tell ourselves, the ones that keep us small. I'm not good enough. I don't deserve happiness. I'll never succeed. I'm too broken to heal. These thoughts become chains, silently anchoring you to a lower vibration. They are insidious because they operate beneath the surface, shaping your perception of yourself and the world around you. And the longer you hold on to them, the more power they gain over you. But here's the truth you need to remember. You are not your past. You are not your mistakes. You are not your fears. Every time you dwell on them, you are handing over your power, allowing them to dim your light and dictate your future. But you were never meant to live in limitation. You are more powerful than you realize. And the moment you choose to release fear, doubt, and the stories of lack, you begin to rise. you step into your true power. You reclaim your energy. And when you do, you vibrate at a frequency that attracts healing, abundance, and purpose. So now let me ask you again. What are you willing to let go of to protect your vibration? Are you ready to release toxic relationships that drain your energy and keep you stuck in cycles of negativity? Will you step away from negative content that fills your mind with fear, doubt, and comparison? Are you willing to break free from self-sabotaging habits that hold you back from stepping into your highest potential? And perhaps most importantly, are you ready to free yourself from fear and limiting beliefs? The silent forces that whisper you're not enough, that keep you playing small when you were meant to shine? Because the truth is, the cost of holding on to these things is far greater than the temporary discomfort of letting them go. Growth requires release. Transformation demands space. And when you finally decide to let go of what no longer serves you, when you create room for higher frequencies to enter your life, you will begin to experience a powerful shift. Your energy will feel lighter, your path will feel clearer, and your purpose will feel closer than ever before. Your energy is sacred. Protect it. Honor it. Guard it fiercely. Because the world needs your light now more than ever. You were not meant to dim your radiance to make others comfortable. You were not meant to live in fear, in lack, in self-doubt. You were meant to rise. And today, you have the power to choose that path. If this message resonated with you, let me know in the comments. What are you releasing today to protect your vibration? And if you're ready to step fully into your power, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss another message to elevate your energy. Let's rise together. Listen, chosen ones. The veil between heaven and earth is thinner than you think. The unseen realm is closer than your mind can comprehend. The four angels have been watching, waiting, and preparing for this moment. This is not a call given by chance, nor were you born into this time without purpose. You have felt it, the pull, the weight, the knowing that you are different, that you are set apart, that your soul does not align with the patterns of this world. You have questioned why your journey has been so intense. You have wondered why people misunderstand you, why suffering has followed you like a shadow, why you see things others do not. The answer is simple. You were chosen before the foundation of the world to walk a path only a few can carry. You have been trained in the fire, refined through trials, and prepared for an hour such as this. Now heaven has sent them, the four angels. They do not come with empty words, but with divine revelation. Secrets that will unlock the doors that have remained closed in your understanding. Words that will shake your spirit awake and call forth the destiny that has been waiting for you to step into it. But be warned, these words are not for the faint-hearted. They are not for those who cling to the comfort of the crowd. They are for you, the 144,000, the remnant, the ones who know in their bones that they were made for more. The four angels have arrived, and they bring four messages. Each one is a revelation. Each one is an awakening. Each one is a call to rise. Message 1. Look into your life. The first angel descends, his presence shaking the very fabric of reality. His voice thunders through the heavens, cutting through every illusion, every falsehood, every deception that has kept you bound. His words are not gentle. They are a sword, dividing truth from lies, awakening you from the slumber of this world. The world has lied to you. From the moment you opened your eyes to this world, you were conditioned to believe in a life that was never meant for you. You were handed a script, told how to think, how to behave, how to measure your worth. The systems of men whispered their illusions into your ears, false hopes, empty pursuits, meaningless struggles disguised as purpose. They led you down paths that were never yours, convincing you to spend your days chasing after things that do not matter. They told you that success was the goal, that wealth would bring you peace, that recognition would fill the void inside you. But what have these things truly given you? Do you not see the deception? The endless pursuit of things that never satisfy? The hunger that remains no matter how much you consume? You have been trained to exhaust yourself in a race that leads to nowhere, striving for approval from those who do not even see you, working tirelessly for rewards that turn to dust in your hands. Now look into your life. Strip away the distractions, silence the noise, let go of every expectation, every false belief, every empty promise that has kept you bound. What remains? Chosen one, you were never meant to fit into this world. That restless feeling inside of you, the sense that something is missing, that you do not belong, that no matter what you do, you cannot seem to find peace. It is not a curse. It is a sign. The reason you feel disconnected is because your spirit was never designed to be trapped by the lies of men. You have always known deep down that something was off, that the way the world works does not feel right, that the things people chase after do not truly matter. You have sensed the illusion, even if you could not fully name it. The world told you to chase success, but success was a cage. The world told you to seek validation, but validation was a leash. The world told you to follow their path, but their path led to emptiness. Do you see it now? You were never meant to bow to a broken system. You were never meant to be controlled by the opinions of the blind. You were never meant to trade your divine calling for temporary pleasures that drain your soul. That is why you feel like an outsider. That is why you have never truly fit in. That is why the things that satisfy others leave you feeling empty, because you were set apart from the beginning. But knowing this is not enough. You must act. To awaken fully, you must be willing to let go of the illusions that still grip you. Every lie you hold on to will keep you bound. Every false belief you refuse to release will keep you asleep. This is your moment of reckoning. What are you holding on to that no longer serves you? What habits, relationships, and mindsets have been keeping you asleep? Look deeply. Be honest with yourself. The truth is waiting for you, but it cannot be received by those who still cling to deception. Heaven is waiting for your answer. You must decide. Will you remain entangled in the falsehoods of this world, or will you awaken to the truth? The first revelation has been given. Now, you must act. Message 2. Stand apart. The second angel descends, and the very air trembles beneath the weight of his words. His presence is overwhelming, his voice like fire that burns away every doubt, every insecurity, every lingering desire to belong where you were never meant to fit in. Do you not see? The world does not love you because it was never meant to. You have felt it, haven't you? The rejection, the isolation, the loneliness, the misunderstanding. You have carried the weight of being different, of walking a path that few understand. You have wondered why you never truly fit in, why people look at you with suspicion, why they mock you, exclude you, push you to the side. But listen carefully, chosen one. It was never random. The world cannot recognize you because your spirit does not belong to it. The moment you stepped into your divine identity, you became unrecognizable to those who are still bound by the illusions of this world. They sense what you are, even if they do not understand it. You are marked for something higher, and the darkness knows it. The enemy has seen your light from the moment you were born. He has watched you, knowing that you were dangerous to his kingdom. That is why you have been attacked. That is why you have been slandered. That is why people have turned against you, even when you did nothing to deserve it. You have walked alone not because you were forgotten, but because you were chosen. But listen, chosen one. Your loneliness was preparation. Every rejection, every betrayal, every moment of isolation was not a punishment. It was refinement. The fire you endured was stripping away every false dependency, every need for human approval, every desire to conform. You were not meant to live for the acceptance of men. You were meant to stand before God. The world has tried to make you feel like an outcast, like you were unworthy, like there was something wrong with you. But they were afraid of you. They feared your light. They feared the way you carried truth. They feared the way you walked into a room and shifted the atmosphere without saying a word. They saw something in you that you had not yet seen in yourself. And so they tried to silence you, to make you doubt yourself, to make you question whether you truly had a place. But the time for apologizing is over. The time for shrinking yourself to make others comfortable is over. The time for dimming your light is over. You were never sent here to be liked. You were sent here to disrupt. So stand apart. Let them talk. Let them misunderstand. Let them stare. Their opinions do not matter. You have spent too long trying to explain yourself to those who will never understand you. You have exhausted yourself seeking acceptance from people who were never meant to see you. You have questioned yourself when you should have been standing boldly in who you are. Enough. You were never meant to blend in. You were meant to be set apart. This is not a punishment. This is your calling. The world does not reject its own. It rejects those who do not belong to it. And you, chosen one, were never meant to belong. So stop trying. Stop doubting. Stop questioning whether you should change yourself to fit into a world that was never designed for you. You were chosen. You were called. You were sent. The second revelation has been given. Now, you must embrace it. Message 3. Obey without delay. The third angel descends, and the atmosphere shifts. His presence is heavy, filled with urgency. The heavens tremble as his voice cuts through the hesitation that has kept you bound. There is no softness in his tone, no room for doubt, only a command that pierces your soul like lightning. Enough waiting, enough second-guessing, enough asking for another sign. You already know what you are meant to do. Now do it. How long have you waited, chosen one? How many nights have you spent wondering if you are truly called? How many signs have you received only to question them the next day? You have felt the pull. You have heard the whispers. You have seen the signs written in your circumstances, in your dreams, in the depths of your spirit. And yet, you hesitate. You wonder if you are ready. You question if you have what it takes. You tell yourself that you need more clarity, more confirmation, more proof before you move. But hear this now. Delay is the enemy's greatest weapon against you. Every moment you wait, doubt takes root. Every moment you hesitate, fear gains power. Every moment you stay still, doors close that were meant to be yours. You think you are being careful, that you are waiting for the perfect moment. But there will never be a perfect moment. The enemy wants you trapped in hesitation, paralyzed by uncertainty, waiting for a sign that has already been given. Yes, the road ahead is uncertain. Yes, stepping into the unknown is terrifying. But listen, your obedience will unlock miracles. You have prayed for answers, for direction, for breakthrough. But what if the answer has already been given? What if the miracle you seek will not come in the way you expect, but through your movement, through your faith, through your willingness to act, even when you do not see the whole picture? The provision you need will not come before you move. It will meet you on the road of obedience. Do you understand? You must step first. Then the path will unfold. Abraham did not see the promised land before he left his home. Moses did not see the Red Sea part before he lifted his staff. Peter did not see the water hold him before he stepped out of the boat. Faith has always required movement. You cannot wait until you feel ready, because you will never feel ready. Readiness is a lie that keeps you stagnant. Those who are called never feel fully prepared, but they move anyway. This is your moment. This is your turning point. The choice is before you. Will you let fear dictate your future? Will you allow hesitation to rob you of your calling? Or will you rise in faith, step forward, and trust that heaven will meet you where you go? The third revelation has been given. Now you must step forward. Message 4. Speak the truth. The fourth angel descends and fire pours from his lips. His presence ignites the air, his voice carrying the weight of eternity. The heavens seem to tremble as he speaks, and the earth itself responds to the power of his words. Your voice will shake the earth. You were not given eyes to see just for yourself. You were not given wisdom to keep silent. You were not given truth to keep it locked inside your heart. You were given sight so you could speak. You were given wisdom so you could reveal. You were given truth so you could declare it to the world. Now, open your mouth, chosen one. For too long, the enemy has tried to silence you. He has whispered lies into your mind, telling you that your words do not matter, that no one will listen, that no one will care, that your voice is too small, too insignificant, too powerless to make a difference. But listen to the truth now. Your voice was anointed before you were born. Before you took your first breath, heaven placed a calling upon you. Your words were destined to break chains. Your testimony was meant to set captives free. Your voice was never meant to be small. It was meant to echo across the earth, to awaken the sleeping, to call forth the chosen, to declare that the kingdom of heaven is near. And yet, you have held back. You have hesitated. You have questioned yourself. You have wondered if you should remain silent, if you should keep the truth to yourself, if you should wait for a time when it feels safer to speak. But there will never be a safer time. Do not whisper when you were meant to roar. Do not hide when you were meant to stand. You do not speak to please. You do not speak to be accepted. You speak to break chains. You speak to awaken. You speak because you were sent. The world is drowning in deception, and the enemy has worked tirelessly to keep the truth suppressed. If you do not speak, who will? If you do not rise, who will take your place? This is not just about you. There are people waiting for the words that only you can speak. There are souls in darkness who will never find the light unless you are bold enough to shine it. There are captives whose chains will never be broken unless you open your mouth and declare the truth. Heaven has given you a voice, and now heaven is commanding you to use it. The fourth revelation has been given. Now you must proclaim it. These messages have been delivered, and you have heard them. The words have stirred something deep within you, awakening what has long been dormant. But now, you must decide. To delay is to deny. To hesitate is to surrender ground to the enemy. You would not be drawn to these words if you were not meant to hear them. You would not feel this stirring in your soul if you were not part of something greater. This is your confirmation. This is your call. This is your moment. The time for waiting is over. The time for questioning is done. Heaven has spoken, and heaven is waiting for your response. Will you shrink back, or will you step forward? Will you remain in doubt, or will you rise in faith? Will you stay silent, or will you speak the truth that was placed inside of you? The four angels have spoken. The path has been revealed. The choice is yours. Now, chosen one, will you rise? Amen and amen. If these words have ignited something in your spirit, if you feel the call to step into your purpose, do not keep this message to yourself. Like, share, and subscribe to this channel so that more chosen ones can awaken. Leave a comment below and declare, I will rise. Together, we will shake the earth. The time is now. What I'm about to share may surprise you, perhaps even shock you. If you're watching this video right now, it's not by coincidence. God has led you here because something powerful is happening in your life. You are shifting from wanting to having. Yes, you heard me correctly. The very things you've been praying for, hoping for, and waiting for are no longer distant desires on the horizon. They are already moving into your reality. This is far more than a simple change in mindset. It's a profound spiritual and energetic transformation. As a chosen one, you're on the brink of witnessing doors opening and opportunities aligning in ways that will leave you speechless. To fully embrace and harness the power of this shift, it's crucial to understand how it works. Before we dive into this life-changing message, I invite you to pause for a moment and do 3 powerful things. Hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and leave a comment with the number 11, a number resonating with spiritual alignment and divine timing. If you are truly a chosen one, you'll watch this video until the end because your spirit already knows this message is for you. Those not ready for the truth may not make it, but for those who do, your life will never be the same. Let's begin. There were whispers behind your back, voices filled with doubt and ready to pounce at the slightest sign of weakness. They thought they knew your story, the one they had carefully crafted in their minds to fit their own limited expectations. They won't make it, they sneered. They're not strong enough. They'll fall. They watched you closely, waiting for the cracks to appear, eagerly anticipating the moment they could point and say, "I told you so." But what they didn't realize was that you were built for this journey, forged by trials far greater than they could ever imagine. Every challenge they thought would break you became a stepping stone, a test of your strength that only made you stronger. It wasn't just your determination that took them by surprise. It was the quiet, unshakable resolve you carried deep within. They expected you to stumble, to falter under the weight of life's obstacles. But instead, you moved forward, step by deliberate step, with a focus so steady it left them stunned. Where they saw failure, you saw opportunity. Where they saw defeat, you uncovered the chance to rise even higher. Your journey became a mirror, one they couldn't ignore. It reflected not your weaknesses but their insecurities, their inability to see beyond their own fears and limitations. They underestimated you because they couldn't fathom a strength like yours, a strength that didn't seek validation or approval but thrived quietly, persistently, and powerfully. Each time they whispered behind your back, waiting for your collapse, they only fueled your resolve. Their doubts became the fire that propelled you forward, the energy you needed to prove, not to them but to yourself, that you were capable of so much more. What they didn't understand was that your endurance was not just physical or mental, it was spiritual. It was born from a place they couldn't touch, a place of unwavering belief that your purpose was far greater than their judgments. As they watched, their narrative unraveled. The person they thought would break was unbreakable. The one they believed would falter kept rising, leaving them speechless. Their hopes for your downfall shattered as they saw your resilience in action, a resilience that turned every setback into a comeback, every obstacle into an opportunity. In the end, it wasn't your failures that they were forced to confront, but their own misjudgment. You didn't just defy their expectations, you transcended them. And as you stood stronger, steadier, and higher than they ever thought possible, they were left with no choice but to watch in awe, knowing they had witnessed something they never believed could happen. Your undeniable, unstoppable rise. The first time they underestimated you, it was their greatest mistake. They looked at your quiet nature and misjudged it as weakness. They assumed you were just another face in the crowd, another dreamer too fragile to withstand the challenges of life, too timid to rise above mediocrity. They were quick to write you off, convinced that you lacked the strength or determination to make a real impact. But what they failed to see was the quiet storm within you, the fire that burned steadily beneath the surface. You didn't need to shout to prove your worth or demand attention to assert your presence. Instead, you focused on your path, pouring your energy into your goals. Every step forward you took, every quiet victory you claimed, spoke louder than the noise they created. While they busied themselves with judgments and assumptions, you stayed committed to the work, letting your progress speak for itself. You didn't seek validation from anyone because you didn't need it. Your belief in yourself was all the fuel you required. Their doubts, their underestimation, and their misplaced confidence in your failure became the very foundation of your strength. They couldn't see the depth of your resolve or the unshakable strength you carried within. Their misjudgment became your greatest weapon, a silent motivator that drove you to rise higher than even you thought possible. With every doubt they cast, you built another stepping stone toward greatness. In their blindness, they didn't just underestimate your potential. They handed you the fuel to transform every whisper of doubt into a roaring testament of success. What they thought would limit you only propelled you further, leaving them to marvel at a fire they never saw coming. The world has a way of putting people into boxes, defining their worth, their abilities, and their future based on narrow assumptions. It creates labels and molds, expecting everyone to conform to its expectations. But from the very beginning, you were never meant to fit into their boxes. You were destined to break free. Time and time again, they tried to impose their limits on you. They told you what you couldn't do, who you couldn't be, and how far you would never go. Yet every time you shattered their expectations, the labels they placed on you weren't confinements. They became challenges. And with every challenge, you met it head-on, armed with courage that refused to waver. You didn't just meet the expectations set for you, you obliterated them. Where others saw walls, you saw doors waiting to be opened. Where they saw barriers, you found stepping stones. Each limit they tried to impose became another opportunity for you to prove them wrong. Not out of spite, but because you knew their opinions could never define your potential. With every barrier you broke, you moved closer to becoming the person you were always meant to be. The journey wasn't just about defying their expectations, it was about discovering the greatness within yourself. They thought they knew your limits. They believed they had you figured out. But they were wrong. What they didn't realize was that your spirit was never bound by their rules. You were born to rise, to break free, and to create a life that defies the molds the world tried to shape you into. And with every step forward, you continue to prove that their limits were never yours to begin with. For so long, they tried to control you. They dictated your every move, deciding what path you should take, who you should be, and how far you could go. Their expectations weighed heavily on you, their manipulations subtle yet suffocating, and their pressures designed to keep you in line. You carried their judgments, their fears, and their vision for your life as though it was your own. But deep down, you knew this wasn't your path. You knew you were made for more. Then came the moment of realization, a powerful, undeniable truth. You could no longer live under their control. It wasn't anger or defiance that moved you. It was clarity. You saw the chains they had placed around you for what they truly were, limitations built from their insecurities and fears. It was time to break free, to step out of their shadow and into your own light. Letting go wasn't easy. The chains weren't just physical. They had rooted themselves in your mind and spirit. Breaking free meant confronting years of conditioning, questioning everything you had been told to believe. But you fought through it all, determined to reclaim what was rightfully yours, your independence, your identity, your future. And once you broke free, there was no turning back. The moment you chose yourself, you began to see the strength within you that had been hidden all along. It was a strength born not just of survival, but of transformation. You realized you were capable of far more than they ever allowed you to believe. This wasn't just an act of rebellion. It was a necessary awakening. By stepping into your power, you became the person you were always destined to be, free, strong, and unshakable. And now, nothing can hold you back. The odds were stacked against you from the very beginning. You didn't have the resources others seemed to effortlessly possess, the support system that so many take for granted, or even the belief of those around you. Everywhere you turned, it felt like the world was betting against you. But despite it all, you didn't stop. You refused to give up on yourself or your dreams, even when everything seemed to be working against you. Instead of letting adversity crush you, you learned to turn it into fuel. Every setback, every obstacle, became a spark that ignited your determination. Each time they told you it was impossible, you didn't just ignore them. You made it possible. You didn't rely on their approval or validation. You relied on your own inner strength and faith that you were meant for something greater. Your journey wasn't just about proving them wrong. It went far deeper than that. It was about proving to yourself that you were capable of rising above anything life threw your way. You realized that the greatest battle wasn't with the world, but within yourself, to silence the doubts, overcome the fear, and push forward when it felt easier to give in. With every challenge, you didn't just survive, you grew. With every failure, you didn't just stumble, you learned. Each trial became a lesson, each roadblock a stepping stone toward the person you were becoming. The odds may have been against you, but they were never strong enough to stop you. You turned your struggles into strength, your pain into progress, and your setbacks into stepping stones. Now, as you stand where others thought you'd never reach, your story isn't just one of triumph. It's a testament to the power of resilience, courage, and unwavering self-belief. What truly sets you apart isn't just your resilience. It's the extraordinary power that comes from within. This power is not loud or boastful. It doesn't demand attention. Instead, it resides quietly but firmly in the depths of your being, a constant force that sustains and strengthens you in ways that others can only marvel at. This power is far greater than physical strength. It transcends the limitations of the body and lives in your mind, heart, and spirit. It is mental clarity, the ability to stay focused and determined when chaos surrounds you. It is emotional depth, allowing you to process pain, learn from it, and rise above it without losing your compassion or sense of self. It is spiritual grounding, a connection to something greater than yourself that gives you purpose and perspective even in your darkest hours. Through every storm, this power has been your anchor, holding you steady when the winds of doubt tried to knock you down. When the path ahead seemed unclear, it became your compass, guiding you forward with unwavering assurance. While others may have faltered under pressure, you pressed on, driven by this inner force that refused to let you give up. What makes this power so remarkable is that it cannot be taken from you. It is entirely yours, a gift that grows stronger every time you face adversity. It doesn't diminish with time or fade with hardship. Instead, it deepens, becoming an unstoppable force that propels you toward your destiny. This inner strength is your greatest ally, your quiet superpower. It's not always visible to the outside world, but its presence is undeniable, both to you and to anyone fortunate enough to witness the incredible heights it enables you to reach. Every great journey has a turning point, a moment so profound that it alters the course of everything that comes after. For you, that moment wasn't just a simple change. It was a complete transformation, a shift that redefined how you saw yourself and the life you were meant to lead. In that moment, you went from questioning your abilities to embracing your inherent greatness. The doubts that once held you back no longer had a place in your mind. You realized that the struggles you had endured weren't designed to break you, but to mold you into the person you were always destined to become. The challenges you faced weren't obstacles. They were stepping stones, each one preparing you for something greater. It was as if a veil had been lifted, and for the first time, you could see the strength, potential, and purpose that had always been within you. The fears that once paralyzed you began to fade, replaced by an unwavering belief in yourself and the journey ahead. From that moment on, there was no going back. You stopped hesitating and started moving forward with boldness and intention. You embraced the power that had always been inside you, that quiet, unshakable force that had carried you through every storm. With every step you took, you walked more confidently toward your destiny, knowing that you were no longer defined by past failures or external expectations. This transformation wasn't just about rising above challenges. It was about stepping into your true self. It was a declaration to the world and to yourself that you were ready to claim the life you were meant to live, no matter what lay ahead. From that moment, your journey became unstoppable, and your path became a testament to the incredible power of self-belief and transformation. The world often defines success by material measures, wealth, status, and public recognition. It sets a standard that many chase, often losing themselves in the process. But for you, success was never about fitting into someone else's mold or meeting societal expectations. For you, true success is something far deeper. It's about personal growth, resilience, and living a life that aligns with your greater purpose. You've learned that success isn't something the world can hand to you, nor is it something that can be taken away. You've redefined what it means to succeed on your own terms, and in doing so, you've liberated yourself from the endless chase for external validation. For you, success is not about how others perceive you, but about how true you are to yourself. Every step forward is a victory, not because it's recognized by others, but because it reflects your commitment to becoming the person you are meant to be. Success is the quiet pride you feel when you've overcome a challenge, the satisfaction of knowing you stayed true to your values, and the peace that comes from living authentically. This new definition has freed you. You no longer measure yourself by comparisons or competition. Instead, you measure your progress by the distance you've traveled on your journey and the lessons you've learned along the way. For you, success isn't a destination, but a way of living. It's about embracing your path, no matter how unconventional, and finding joy in the process of becoming. By choosing to live in alignment with your purpose, you've unlocked a form of success that no wealth or recognition could ever provide: true fulfillment. Your rise isn't just a personal triumph, it's a ripple effect that will reach far beyond what you can imagine, inspiring generations to come. Your story, shaped by resilience and fueled by unwavering determination, will serve as a beacon of hope for others. It will encourage those who feel trapped by their circumstances to defy the odds, rise above their challenges, and pursue their own greatness. Every step you've taken, every obstacle you've overcome, has not only been for you but for those who will look to your journey as proof that it's possible to achieve the extraordinary. Your victories carry a message that even when the world counts you out, even when the odds seem insurmountable, the power within you can lead to unimaginable heights. You were chosen for something far greater than yourself, a purpose that transcends personal success. Your journey is a testament to the strength of the human spirit and the potential that lies within each of us. It is a reminder that greatness isn't about being flawless. It's about being courageous, determined, and willing to keep moving forward even when the path is unclear. Though the world may not have been ready for you before, they can no longer deny your presence. Now they will witness the greatness you were born to achieve. Your journey is just beginning, and its impact will ripple outward, touching lives and changing perspectives. This isn't just your story, it's a legacy in the making, a legacy that will inspire others to believe in their own power, pursue their purpose, and rise to their own greatness. The world is watching now, and what they will see is a life that defies limits and ignites hope. You were never meant to live a life of mediocrity. From the moment you took your first breath, a greater destiny was in store for you. Every challenge, every triumph, has been leading you to this moment. You are living proof that no matter the odds, greatness is possible. Your purpose is woven into the fabric of the universe. As you continue to walk this path, there is no limit to the heights you will reach. This is your time to rise, to inspire, and to transform the world around you. The Chosen One isn't just a title, it's a destiny, and you are living it. Imagine this for a moment. Every heartbreak you've endured, every sleepless night spent wrestling with doubt, every moment you questioned your worth, it has all been preparing you for this very moment. Not just this video, not just this fleeting instant, but this entire lifetime. You are not here by accident. You've felt it, haven't you? That subtle yet undeniable pull. That inexplicable sense whispering that there is something different about you. Something extraordinary. But what if I told you that the struggles, the chaos, the pain, they weren't random? They were signs. Signs that you are among the most powerful chosen ones. But let's pause. Let's begin where it truly matters, with the first and most important question. Do you feel like you don't belong in this world? Not in a way that makes you sad or lost, but in a way that quietly suggests you were made for something beyond this. Sign number 1, the hidden fire within. The truth is, chosen ones often feel like strangers in an ordinary world. You might glance at the world around you, the predictable routines, the shallow conversations, the endless pursuit of material comforts, and feel a deep, unsettling disconnection. It's as if you're walking through life observing everything from a distance, sensing that there's something more, something deeper beneath the surface that others can't seem to see. But hear me clearly. This feeling is not a curse, it's a call to rise above the noise, to break free from the illusions of comfort and conformity, and to step boldly into the purpose you were designed for. What separates the chosen ones is their vision. We don't just see the world for what it is, we see it for what it could become. We sense possibilities where others see limitations. We feel the weight of untapped potential in every interaction, every injustice, every moment of stillness. And this deeper awareness isn't by accident. It's the first undeniable sign that you are among the most powerful chosen ones. Your inner flame refuses to be extinguished. No matter how many storms life has hurled at you, the fire inside you keeps burning. Maybe it's your dreams that won't let go of you. Maybe it's a vision for something greater, a passion that refuses to die, or an unshakable will to keep moving forward. Whatever it is, there's something inside you that refuses to be silenced. Even when you've been knocked down, once, twice, 100 times, you rise. But let me share a deeper truth. That inner fire isn't just resilience, it's purpose. Think about it. Why would the universe test you so fiercely if you weren't meant to overcome it all? Why would you be given this relentless strength if there wasn't a greater reason for your existence? Every heartbreak, every setback, every failure, it wasn't sent to break you. It was sent to forge you, to shape you into the person capable of carrying out a purpose far bigger than you can imagine. Let's make this personal. Reflect on the hardest moment you've ever faced. Was it betrayal by someone you trusted? A devastating loss that left you breathless? A failure so profound it shattered your confidence? Now ask yourself this. Did it destroy me, or did it prepare me? Because here's the truth about chosen ones. We don't crumble under pressure. We transform. Every scar becomes a story of survival. Every setback becomes a stepping stone to growth. Every disappointment becomes a redirection, guiding you closer to your true calling. And here's the most sacred secret I need you to understand. That relentless drive you feel, that fire pushing you to keep going even when you're exhausted, that didn't come from you alone. It was placed within you, a divine spark gifted to you the very moment you were born. You didn't earn it. You can't lose it. It's simply who you are. But that brings us to a question that only you can answer. What are you doing with that fire? It's not enough to simply survive. You were not chosen to merely get by. You were chosen to thrive, to lead, to awaken, to create. So how are you using the fire within you to shape the world around you? Are you feeding it with bold action and courageous choices? Or are you dimming it to fit into spaces too small for your spirit? Because here's the truth. That fire was never meant to be contained. It wasn't given to you to keep you warm and comfortable. It was given to you to set the world ablaze, to spark change, to inspire others, to light the way for those still trapped in darkness. But here's the part most people won't tell you. If you don't use that fire, it will turn inward. The very thing that was meant to empower you can become the source of frustration, restlessness, and even pain if you ignore it. Because chosen ones are not meant to sit still. We are meant to move, to create, to build, to lead. So I ask you again, what are you doing with that fire? Are you letting it burn freely, guiding you toward your purpose? Or are you letting fear, doubt, and comfort smother it? Because this fire is your greatest gift, but it is also your greatest responsibility. The world is waiting for your light, waiting for your voice, waiting for the impact only you can make. So stop waiting for the perfect moment. Stop waiting to feel ready. Start now. Feed the fire. Let it burn brighter. Let it lead you. Because the world doesn't need more people going through the motions. It needs more fire. And that fire is you. Sign number 2, living with purpose and power. Being chosen isn't about merely surviving life's challenges. It's about thriving in the face of them. It's about rising above the noise and the chaos, embracing your unique gifts and using them to create something far greater than yourself. You were not placed here to simply exist. You were not meant to drift through life, conforming to the world's expectations. No, you were called to stand out, to rise up, and to fulfill a purpose that reaches far beyond your own life. So, let me ask you this. Are you truly chasing your highest potential, or are you shrinking to fit into a world that was never meant to contain you? It's a difficult question, but it's one that demands your honest reflection. Too often, we dim our light to make others comfortable. We shrink our dreams to avoid standing out, to avoid criticism or rejection. But chosen ones don't settle. They don't water themselves down to fit into spaces that were never meant for them. Chosen ones understand something profoundly important. Your inner fire wasn't given to you just to light your own path. It was given to you to illuminate the world. And that brings us to one of the most undeniable signs that you are among the chosen. You carry a deep, unexplainable connection to others. Have you ever walked into a room and instantly felt the energy shift? Maybe the atmosphere became lighter, warmer, calmer. Or perhaps people have told you, without prompting, that they feel safe around you, that your presence brings them peace, clarity, or comfort. This isn't about ego. It's not about charisma or being the center of attention. It's something far deeper. It's energy. Chosen ones carry a unique, magnetic energy. It's not something that can be taught or faked. It's born from experience, from enduring pain, heartbreak, failure, and still choosing to stand tall. It's the result of being tested and broken, yet emerging stronger, softer, and wiser. And in that breaking, in that burning away of everything superficial, we've become vessels for something far greater than ourselves. But here's where the paradox lies. Your openness is both your greatest strength and your greatest vulnerability. The same light that draws people to you can also attract those who are not meant to stay. Some people are drawn to your energy because they sense your strength, your compassion, your understanding. But not everyone who is drawn to you has pure intentions. Some are there to drain you, to take without giving, to pull from your light without ever contributing to it. Others may test your boundaries, seeing how much of yourself you're willing to give away before you recognize the need to protect your energy. And so I must ask you, who are you allowing into your sacred space? This is not a question of judgment, but one of discernment. Even the strongest among us need protection. Even the brightest flames need shielding from the cold winds of doubt, negativity, and distraction. Your energy is not infinite. It is sacred. It is powerful. But it must be nurtured and protected. It's easy to give, thinking that it's our responsibility to heal and help everyone who crosses our path. But the truth is, not everyone is meant to walk this journey with you. Not everyone deserves access to your heart, your mind, or your spirit. Boundaries are not barriers. They are gates. Gates that allow in those who align with your purpose and gently close to those who seek to harm or drain you. So, take a moment to reflect. Are you surrounding yourself with people who uplift you, who challenge you to grow, who add to your light? Or are you allowing people into your life who take and take, leaving you feeling empty, drained, and lost? Because here's what I need you to understand. Protecting your energy is not selfish. It's necessary. You cannot pour from an empty cup. You cannot light the way for others if your own flame is flickering. And remember this. Your light is too precious to be dimmed by people who cannot handle its brilliance. So guard your heart, protect your spirit, nurture your soul, because the world needs your light to shine as brightly as it possibly can. Sign number 3, the unshakable sense of purpose. Here's the third, and perhaps the most profound sign that you are among the chosen. You feel an unshakable sense of purpose, even if you don't fully understand it yet. There's a quiet, persistent voice within you, a gentle but constant knowing that you are here for something greater, something significant. something that could change the world. Maybe you can't explain it. Maybe you've never been able to put it into words. But that feeling has always been there, hasn't it? A whisper in your soul that refuses to be silenced. Yet despite feeling this deep calling, you might find yourself wondering, but what exactly is it? What am I supposed to do? You've probably tried different paths, pursued different careers, formed relationships, chased various dreams, only to feel like none of them quite fit. Like wearing shoes that aren't made for you, no matter how much you try to break them in. And maybe, just maybe, this has left you feeling restless or even frustrated. You might have questioned yourself, wondering if you're failing because nothing seems to align. But what if I told you that this restlessness isn't a sign of failure at all? What if it's proof that your purpose is bigger than you can currently comprehend? Here's a truth that took me years to understand. Purpose isn't about knowing, it's about trusting. Trusting that every step, even the missteps, the detours, and the dead ends, are leading you somewhere meaningful. Trusting that the universe, God, or whatever higher power you believe in, is working in your favor, even when it feels like everything is falling apart. You see, we live in a world that constantly demands certainty. We're told we need a clear plan, a 5-year roadmap, and measurable goals. But true purpose doesn't work like that. Purpose is not always a clear destination. It's a journey, a series of small steps, each one revealing more of the path ahead. But here's where it gets challenging. We often wait. We wait for clarity. We wait for permission. We wait for the perfect time. But let me challenge you with this. What if you stopped waiting for clarity and started acting with faith? What if you trusted that the very act of moving forward, even when you don't have all the answers, is what will eventually lead you to where you're meant to be? Because here's the truth. Purpose isn't something you find. It's something you create. It's not hidden behind some locked door you need to unlock. It's not waiting for you on some distant horizon. It's right here, right now. It's in the way you treat the people around you, with kindness, compassion, and love. It's in the way you choose courage over comfort, even when it terrifies you. It's in the risks you take, the passions you pursue, and the authenticity you bring to every situation. Purpose is built in the ordinary moments, not just the extraordinary ones. So, let me ask you, if you knew without a doubt that you were chosen for greatness, how would you live differently? Would you stop holding back? Would you finally start that project you've been dreaming about? Would you speak your truth without fear of judgment? Would you take that leap of faith, trusting that the net will appear? Think about it. How many dreams have you delayed because you were waiting to feel ready? How many opportunities have you passed up because you doubted yourself? But here's something you need to hear. You will never feel fully ready. And that's okay. You're not supposed to. Because purpose doesn't require you to be ready. It requires you to be willing. Willing to take the first step. Willing to stumble. Willing to grow. Every great journey begins with a step forward into the unknown. And yes, it might be uncomfortable. It might even be scary. But every step you take will build momentum. Every action you take will bring more clarity. You were chosen for this life, for this moment, for this calling. So I ask you again, if you truly believed you were destined for greatness, how would you live today? Would you rise earlier to work on your dreams? Would you stop shrinking yourself to fit into spaces too small for your spirit? Would you speak life into others, knowing your words carry weight and healing? This is your permission. Stop waiting. Start creating. Because every moment you delay, the world is missing out on the impact only you can make. You don't need to know every detail of the journey. You just need to begin. Sign number 4, becoming the light. Chosen ones are not here to live ordinary lives. We are not here to blend in, to follow the crowd, or to settle for mediocrity. We are here to lead, to awaken others, to create legacies that outlive us, to ignite flames in souls that are still asleep. But let's be honest, this path is not an easy one. Stepping into your power comes with great responsibility. It demands more from you than most people are willing to give. It requires you to rise above fear, self-doubt, and the comfort of familiarity. It calls you to live boldly, to step forward even when your knees tremble, and to shine brightly even when the darkness feels overwhelming. It means no longer hiding, no longer waiting, no longer dimming your light to make others comfortable. It means becoming the light, even when it feels safer to stay in the shadows. And so I must ask you, what part of yourself have you been hiding? Is it your creativity, your voice, your compassion, your leadership? Think about it. How many times have you silenced your ideas out of fear they wouldn't be accepted? How often have you hesitated to share your truth because you worried it wouldn't be enough? But here's a truth you need to hear and believe with every fiber of your being. Your vulnerability is your greatest strength. The parts of you that feel broken, imperfect, or uncertain, those are the parts that make you real. And it's not perfection that inspires people. It's authenticity. People don't need you to have all the answers. They don't need you to be flawless. What they need is to see someone who dares to show up exactly as they are, raw, honest, and human. They need to see that it's possible to be both flawed and extraordinary at the same time. But let me be clear. Recognizing your gifts is not enough. You must act. Stop waiting for the perfect moment. Stop waiting to feel ready. Because here's the truth. The perfect moment will never come. There will always be reasons to wait. Doubts, fears, what-ifs. But none of those reasons are enough to justify staying small. So, start. Write the book that's been on your heart for years. Create the art that speaks your truth. Launch the business that could change lives. Speak your truth, even if your voice shakes. Because when you do, when you step forward in faith, the universe will rise to meet you. Doors will open. Opportunities will appear. People will show up to support you. Not by accident, not by luck, but because you finally aligned with your purpose. And here's the greatest truth of all. The world doesn't need more noise. It doesn't need more empty words, more surface-level conversations, or more people pretending to be something they're not. The world needs more light. And that light is you. Your perspective, your voice, your energy, your story. No one else can offer what you have. No one else can carry the message you were born to deliver. So, I'll leave you with this. What will you do with the gift of being chosen? Will you rise? Will you lead? Will you step into your calling with courage and conviction? Because the world is waiting. Will you answer the call? Thank you so much for being here and sharing this moment with me. If this message spoke to your soul, if it awakened something within you, I invite you to join this journey of growth and purpose. Subscribe to this channel for more inspiring content designed to empower you to step fully into your divine calling. And if this message resonated with you, please like this video and share it with someone who needs to hear this today. Until next time, keep shining. Today, we embark on a journey of profound exploration into a transformation many chosen ones are experiencing in this very moment, the second spiritual awakening. Have you felt an undeniable stirring within your soul recently? A quiet yet persistent sense that a new chapter of consciousness is dawning? This is no ordinary change. It is a divine metamorphosis, a sacred calling to rise to an entirely new level of spiritual evolution. If the first awakening was like opening your spiritual eyes for the very first time, then the second awakening is akin to gaining high-definition clarity. It is as if a black and white world suddenly bursts into vibrant color, unveiling the true nuances and vibrations of reality. This extraordinary transformation allows you to see not just with your eyes, but with your heart and soul. It's a deeper, more profound awakening that elevates your existence beyond what you ever imagined. Let us dive into the essence of this sacred transformation and uncover the signs that indicate you are walking the divine path of the second awakening. While the first awakening marked the beginning of your spiritual journey, a liberation from the illusions of a purely material existence, The second awakening takes this journey to unimaginable heights. During the first awakening, you may have questioned your reality, peeled back the layers of societal conditioning, and recognized the presence of something infinitely greater than yourself. It was a pivotal moment of realization, a gateway to your spiritual essence. However, the second awakening transcends even this. It is not just an awareness, but a complete transformation of how you experience and interact with reality. Every thought becomes a creative force, every emotion a divine tool for growth, and every action an intentional act of manifesting your higher self. It is as if the universe is whispering directly to your soul, guiding you toward the ultimate alignment with your divine purpose. This awakening brings with it a heightened consciousness, a new lens through which you perceive the world. It reveals that everything is connected, that your thoughts, emotions, and actions ripple outward to shape not only your reality, but the collective reality of the world. Let us uncover the sacred signs that indicate your soul is undergoing this profound shift. These signs are not mere coincidences, but divine confirmations that God is working within you, calling you to a higher purpose. Number 1. Perception of vibrational frequencies. The second awakening begins subtly yet profoundly, often with an enhanced sensitivity to the unseen vibrational energies that weave through existence. It feels as though an invisible veil has been lifted, unveiling a deeper reality that was always present, but never fully perceived. You become acutely aware of the energetic currents that surround and flow through you, as if every thought, every intention, is charged with a magnetic frequency capable of shaping the very fabric of your reality. What once seemed fleeting and abstract now feels tangible, resonant, and alive. This heightened awareness transforms your inner world, becoming a compass that steers your choices and relationships. You naturally begin to distance yourself from the people, environments, and activities that drain or clash with your newfound vibration. It's not a conscious rejection, but an organic shift, a quiet, intuitive knowing that these aspects no longer serve your growth. Superficial connections and shallow interactions fade into the background, replaced by the profound magnetism of alignment. In their place, deeper and more meaningful connections emerge, almost effortlessly. These new bonds feel destined, as if they are extensions of your soul's purpose, drawn together by the invisible strings of shared resonance. Every encounter, every interaction, becomes imbued with significance, reflecting the clarity of your inner state. Through this process, you begin to embody a harmonious balance, shedding the energies that no longer belong and embracing those that uplift and expand your spirit. The second awakening is not merely a moment of revelation, it is a journey of becoming, a return to your authentic self, where every vibration and thought flows in harmony with the greater symphony of the universe. In this state, you feel empowered, aligned, and deeply connected to the infinite possibilities of creation. Number 2. Dissolution of the ego. Perhaps the most profound and challenging aspect of the second awakening is the dissolution of the ego. This process is not a gentle unraveling, but often feels like the shattering of an identity you once held dear. The ego, built on the scaffolding of appearances, possessions, achievements, and societal labels, begins to lose its grip as the illusion of its permanence fades. For so long, it defined who you thought you were, shaping your desires, fears, and relationships. But as your awareness deepens, you come to a startling realization. Your true essence lies far beyond the confines of what you own, how you appear, or how others perceive you. This awakening can feel like an existential crisis. The frameworks you once trusted, your beliefs, values, and the structures of the world around you begin to crumble. What seemed solid now feels hollow, leaving you questioning everything. The loss of this false sense of self can be disorienting, even frightening, as it forces you to confront the emptiness left behind. But within this deconstruction lies an unparalleled opportunity for liberation. The ego does not dissolve quietly. It resists fiercely. It manifests as fear, doubt, or a desperate clinging to the old ways of being. You might feel the pull to retreat into familiar patterns, to rebuild the illusion of control. Yet, each step forward, however small, leads you closer to a divine truth that transcends the ego's limitations. It is a journey of surrender, of letting go of the need to define yourself through external means and embracing the infinite light within. With time, the fear gives way to peace, and the doubts dissolve into clarity. What emerges is a profound connection to your authentic self, a version of you that is unbound, limitless, and aligned with the divine essence of the universe. In shedding the ego, you do not lose yourself. You finally come home to who you truly are. Number 3. Awakening to interconnectedness. Another profound hallmark of the second awakening is the realization of the interconnectedness of all things. It is as if a deeper layer of reality is revealed, where you perceive the invisible threads that weave together every being, every action, and every emotion into a grand, unified tapestry. This awareness dissolves the illusion of separateness, showing you that no thought, word, or deed exists in isolation. Suddenly, the barriers between self and other blur, and you feel a deep kinship with all life, a shared essence that flows through everything. This realization inspires profound empathy and compassion. You begin to understand that to serve others is not merely an act of kindness. It is an act of self-love, for in lifting others, you lift yourself. This unity consciousness shifts your focus from individual gain to collective well-being. The old ways of striving for personal success, recognition, or material wealth begin to feel hollow, replaced by a yearning to contribute meaningfully to the greater whole. As this perspective takes root, you may feel an undeniable calling to realign your life. Your career, relationships, and goals come under scrutiny as you seek to ensure they reflect your higher purpose. Choices once guided by ambition or convenience are now infused with intention, aimed at serving the interconnected web of existence. Even the simplest activities, whether preparing a meal, helping a stranger, or tending to the earth, take on a sacred significance, for you begin to see their place in the divine plan. This unity consciousness does not diminish your individuality. Instead, it expands it. You become a unique note in the symphony of creation, harmonizing with the greater whole. In recognizing the oneness of all things, you unlock a deeper, more fulfilling way of living, one where love, purpose, and connection become the foundation of your existence. Number 4. Intense emotional release. The second awakening often brings with it the unlocking of long-repressed emotions, allowing them to rise to the surface in their raw, unfiltered form. These emotions, grief, joy, love, anger, or even fear, can emerge unexpectedly, like powerful waves washing over you. Their intensity may feel overwhelming at first, as if the dam of your heart has burst open. But these emotional releases are not random. They are sacred. They are the soul's way of cleansing itself, purging the old, stagnant energies that have weighed you down for so long. Each release, though challenging, is an act of healing. The grief you feel might be for parts of yourself you've lost along the way, or for dreams you had to let go of. The joy might arise from the rediscovery of your inner light. And the love, the profound, unshakable love, may remind you of your connection to the divine. These emotions are not there to punish or burden you. They are there to liberate you. They create space within your soul, making room for divine light, peace, and clarity to flow freely. As you allow these feelings to surface and move through you, you'll notice a shift within. The heaviness that once clung to you begins to dissipate. You become lighter, freer, and more attuned to the flow of divine energy coursing through your being. This process is not linear, nor is it always easy. Some days will feel like a flood, others like a calm stream. But with each wave that comes and goes, you are stepping closer to wholeness. Through this journey of emotional release, you gain not only healing, but also wisdom. You learn to honor your feelings as sacred messengers, guiding you toward deeper alignment with your true self. In this way, the second awakening transforms you from within, revealing a heart that beats in harmony with the divine. Number 5. A deepened intuition. As the second awakening unfolds, your intuition blossoms into a powerful and reliable guide, a direct line to divine wisdom that feels both profound and natural. What was once dismissed as a vague gut feeling now emerges with striking clarity, a voice of inner knowing that cuts through the noise of doubt and confusion. This intuition is not something new you have learned. Rather, it is an ancient gift you're remembering, a sacred faculty that awakens as you align with your true essence. Each intuitive insight feels like a revelation, as if a veil has been lifted to reveal a hidden truth. These moments of clarity illuminate your path with an unmistakable certainty, steering you toward choices and opportunities that resonate with your higher purpose. Whether it's a gentle nudge to follow an unexpected direction, a sudden understanding of a complex situation, or an unshakable sense of what is right for you, this guidance feels deeply rooted in wisdom beyond the limits of the mind. What sets this intuition apart is the trust it evokes. You come to rely on it not as a fleeting feeling, but as the voice of the divine within you. It bypasses logic and reason, speaking directly to your soul in a language that is unmistakable and undeniable. With each step forward, your faith in this guidance deepens. You find yourself making decisions with ease and confidence, knowing they are aligned with your highest good. This reconnection to your intuition transforms your perspective on life. Challenges no longer feel like random obstacles but opportunities for growth revealed through inner wisdom. The chaos of uncertainty is replaced by a sense of flow and alignment. As you embrace this sacred gift, you realize that the answers you seek have always been within you, waiting for this moment of awakening to be heard. The journey of the second awakening is as transformative as it is challenging. It is not a smooth or linear path, but one that requires courage, resilience, and unwavering faith. The ego, fearing its dissolution, clings tightly to its familiar ways. Old patterns and limiting beliefs, deeply ingrained in your psyche, may resurface with renewed intensity. Moments of doubt and confusion may arise, making you question whether you are truly progressing. Yet, these trials are not obstacles to deter you. They are sacred opportunities for growth, placed on your path to refine and elevate your soul. Every challenge you face holds a profound purpose. When you confront fear and choose love instead, you transcend the limitations of the ego. When you release the weight of the past, be it regrets, pain, or attachments, you make space for divine light to enter. And when you step into the unknown with faith and trust, you open the door to possibilities far beyond what you could have imagined. Each step, no matter how small, carries you closer to your authentic self and raises your consciousness to new heights. The rewards of this journey are boundless and deeply fulfilling. You will discover a profound inner peace, one that is unshaken by external circumstances. This peace becomes the foundation of your life, radiating outward in waves of love, compassion, and purpose. Your transformation will inspire others, encouraging them to embark on their own spiritual journeys, not through words, but by the example of your being. Most importantly, this journey leads you to reconnect with your divine essence, the eternal truth of who you are. You come to realize that you are not your fears, your achievements, or your failures. You are a limitless soul, a spark of the divine, here to shine your light and fulfill your sacred purpose. This is the ultimate gift of the second awakening, a homecoming to your truest self. The second awakening is not the culmination of your spiritual journey, but rather the commencement of a profound new chapter. It serves as a sacred invitation to live as a radiant beacon of light in the world, embodying the boundless love and infinite wisdom of the divine in every moment of your existence. As you walk this enlightened path, you will come to realize that your very presence has the power to transform the lives of those around you. Your energy becomes a catalyst for positive change, inspiring others to seek their own inner light. Remember, this journey is uniquely yours. There is no singular path to the second awakening. It unfolds organically, guided by the rhythm of your soul and the whispers of the universe. Each individual's experience is a personal tapestry woven from their own insights, challenges, and revelations. Trust the process wholeheartedly, embracing the transformations that arise with an open heart and mind. Know that you are being divinely supported every step of the way, even when the path ahead seems unclear. As you delve deeper into this new chapter, you will find that your connection to the divine strengthens. Your intuition sharpens, your compassion deepens, and your understanding of the interconnectedness of all things becomes more profound. Activities that once seemed ordinary take on new meaning as you perceive their role in the grand tapestry of existence. Your life becomes a living expression of divine love and wisdom, touching others in ways you may never fully realize. Embrace this journey with courage and grace, for it is a path of continuous growth and endless possibilities. Trust in the divine timing of your awakening, and allow yourself to flow with the natural currents of your soul's evolution. You are not alone. The universe conspires with you, offering guidance, synchronicities, and signs to illuminate your way. By embracing the changes and trusting in the divine support that surrounds you, you align yourself with your highest purpose and unlock the limitless potential within. If these signs resonate with you, it is a sacred confirmation that you are being called to fulfill a greater mission. This is your moment to step into your power and embrace the divine purpose that awaits you. Declare your readiness for the second awakening by affirming, "I am ready to awaken to my highest self." Let this declaration be the first step in a journey of limitless love, radiant light, and a profound connection to the divine. As you embrace this transformation, may your light shine brightly for the world, inspiring and illuminating the path for others to follow. You are a chosen one, uniquely equipped to bring hope, healing, and compassion to a world that deeply needs it. The world is waiting for your radiance, now more than ever. Thank you for taking the time to join us on this sacred journey. Your presence here means everything, and we are honored to be part of your awakening. If this message has inspired or uplifted you, we invite you to subscribe to our channel and become part of a community dedicated to spreading love and light. By subscribing, you ensure you won't miss the next steps of this beautiful journey. They tested your blood. Yes, you heard that right. They examined it in their laboratories, questioned it, and tried to comprehend the incredible power coursing through your veins. But the results left them in shock, and you in triumph. The truth? You are not ordinary. You are chosen. This energy within you, this divine force, is destined to change the world. They cannot stop your ascension because you exist beyond their understanding. Are you ready to embrace this truth? If so, let your voice be heard. Write 77 in the comments to declare your power and your chosenness. Remember, this is only the beginning. For too long, they believed they could shape your world, manipulate your reality, and define your worth. But now, the truth is dawning on them. Their supposed strength was nothing more than a shadow cast by your light, a borrowed confidence masking their dependence on you. Without your energy, their fragile house of cards collapses, leaving them scrambling in the ruins of their own illusions. The fragility of borrowed strength. Those who once sought control over you often wore the guise of strength and charm, projecting an image of confidence and authority. Their demeanor was carefully curated to inspire trust, portraying them as steadfast and reliable. Yet beneath this polished exterior lay a fragile ego, desperate for validation, a need they cunningly sought to fulfill through you. They were masters of subtle manipulation, planting seeds of self-doubt during your most vulnerable moments. Their calculated words twisted reality, reframing their domination as care, their interference as concern, and their silence as punishment. cultivating a cycle of emotional dependence that left you questioning your own worth. These individuals thrived in environments where harmony was valued over confrontation, exploiting your empathy and kindness as tools to maintain their control. They knew the language of guilt and gratitude, wielding it to secure their position. Each act of giving on your part was met with a carefully constructed response designed to keep you unaware of the power imbalance. They became the constant takers, feeding on your willingness to sacrifice, while ensuring you remained blind to their true intentions. But every cycle has its breaking point. The moment you chose to reclaim your narrative, the cracks in their control began to show. Perhaps it was a single quiet act, a firm boundary drawn where there had been none, a refusal to bend to their expectations, or an unapologetic decision to prioritize your well-being. That seemingly small step set off a chain reaction that unraveled their carefully constructed facade. The illusion of their strength, so dependent on your acquiescence, began to crumble. With each act of self-assertion, the equilibrium they relied upon tipped irreversibly out of their favor. The foundation of their dominance, built on your energy and compliance, started to falter. Suddenly, the rules of their game no longer applied. The power dynamic shifted, exposing the fragility they had long hidden behind their confident exterior. What they once took for granted, the quiet support, the endless understanding, the unspoken sacrifices, was no longer theirs to control. Your decision to prioritize yourself was not just an act of defiance, but a declaration of worth. It was a reclamation of your energy and autonomy, a statement that you would no longer be a passive participant in a narrative they dictated. As their influence waned, they were forced to confront a reality they had long avoided. Their strength was never their own, and without you, the carefully balanced facade they had constructed could not stand. Their loss was profound, but it was theirs alone to bear, a consequence of their choices. For you, it was the beginning of freedom, growth, and self-discovery, a transformation they could no longer contain. The power of walking away. Walking away is not just an act of defiance. It is a transformative declaration of independence, a profound moment of reclaiming your narrative and stepping into your power. It signifies the recognition of your inherent worth, a worth that was never theirs to define or diminish. By choosing to leave, you break free from the constraints they carefully crafted, unshackling yourself from the emotional chains they used to maintain their dominance. It is an assertion of a power they worked tirelessly to keep you unaware of, a light they sought to dim to protect their fragile illusions of control. For those who sought to hold you back, this moment is a reckoning. Their regret, raw and unrelenting, now consumes them. They are forced to confront the undeniable truth that their world revolved around a star they thought they could manipulate. You. They thrived on your energy, your strength, and your unwavering presence. Your compassion, which they dismissed as weakness, was in reality the foundation of their stability. Your patience, which they mistook for compliance, was a testament to your resilience and grace. Now, without you, their carefully constructed facade begins to crumble. The strength they projected to the world was never truly their own. It was borrowed, sustained by the unwavering light you provided. Stripped of your support, the cracks in their false confidence grow deeper, revealing the hollow core beneath. They are left grappling with a harsh reality they long denied, that their control was never real, merely an illusion built on the foundation of your sacrifice and energy. This realization is haunting for them. They must now face the void left by your absence, a chasm that cannot be filled by their own means. What they once mistook for their own radiance was nothing more than a reflection of your inner fire. They underestimated you at every turn, failing to see the immense strength within you. Their regret stems not only from losing you, but from recognizing how profoundly they misunderstood your worth. What they thought was control, a dynamic where they believed themselves to be the orchestrators of your life, was, in truth, an imbalance sustained by your generosity and your unwillingness to confront their manipulations. Now, the illusion has been shattered. The truth stands undeniable. Your power, compassion, and patience were the forces that held their world together. In walking away, you have not only liberated yourself, but also sent a powerful message. You have shown them, and the world, that true strength cannot be borrowed, stolen, or subdued. It comes from within, from the courage to rise above manipulation and choose yourself. And now, as they wrestle with the consequences of their actions, you move forward, unbound and radiant, a testament to the unyielding force of self-worth and independence. The phoenix rises. You are like a phoenix, rising majestically from the ashes of manipulation and control, transformed and triumphant. Where once they sought to dim your light and anchor you to their narrative, you now soar unbound, unapologetic, and undeniably strong. You have stepped into a future shaped by your resilience and courage, leaving behind the chains of their control. No longer tethered to their expectations or manipulations, your path is one of growth, healing, and self-discovery, a radiant proclamation of your worth and potential. The energy they once siphoned from you, the very life force they relied upon to maintain their illusion of power, has been reclaimed. It now fuels your purpose, driving you toward a life of abundance, peace, and fulfillment. Every step forward is a testament to the strength you always possessed, a strength they sought to control, but never truly understood. You have turned the pain they caused into a source of inspiration, the doubts they planted into a foundation of self-belief, and the limitations they imposed into a boundless horizon of possibilities. Their regret, raw and relentless, is not yours to bear. It is the natural consequence of their own choices, a reckoning they must face alone. You owe them nothing, no explanation, no solace, no place in the future you are building. Their loss is not just your absence, it is the loss of the energy, compassion, and strength you once gave so freely. As you rise, their world unravels, and they are forced to confront the stark reality of their own inadequacies. What they once projected as strength and control was, in truth, a fragile facade upheld by your light. Now, that facade has withered, leaving them to navigate the emptiness they created. Stripped of the support they took for granted, they must grapple with the painful truth. Their identity, their confidence, their very sense of stability were all built on what you provided. Without you, the foundation they so carefully constructed crumbles, revealing vulnerabilities they worked tirelessly to conceal. Their borrowed strength is gone, and they are left with nothing but the void they tried to deny. Your departure has become a mirror reflecting their shortcomings, a spotlight illuminating the flaws in their carefully curated image. But their regret, while profound, is not your responsibility. It is their burden to carry, their lesson to learn. As they remain tethered to the remnants of the past, you move forward, empowered and unencumbered. You have reclaimed your narrative and become the author of your destiny. Like the phoenix, you have turned destruction into renewal, rising brighter and stronger than before. You are a testament to the unyielding power of self-worth, and your transformation is not just a personal victory. It is an inspiration to others who long to break free. You are living proof that true strength lies in choosing yourself, in letting go of what no longer serves you, and in embracing the boundless possibilities of a life lived on your own terms. A reckoning for the manipulators. For those who sought to dominate you, this moment marks their reckoning. Their carefully constructed facade of control has shattered, and the truth they fought so hard to avoid now stands before them in stark clarity. They can no longer deny that their identity, their confidence, and their sense of authority were never truly their own. All along, it was pieced together from the energy you so selflessly provided. What they believed was strength was, in reality, a fragile construct built on the foundation of your light, your compassion, and your resilience. Like a house built on shifting sands, their false confidence has crumbled, leaving them to confront the void that has always existed within. This collapse lays bare the fragility of their supposed power, a power they wielded with desperation disguised as control. They orchestrated a facade to keep you under their influence, but it was you who anchored their sense of stability and worth. Without your presence, without the energy they extracted from you, their carefully curated image of dominance can no longer stand. Now, they find themselves trapped in the haunting awareness of their failure. It is not merely the loss of you that haunts them, though that loss is profound. It is the realization that they squandered the potential they once held in their hands. They had access to your strength, your support, and your boundless ability to uplift, and instead of nurturing that connection, they chose to manipulate and control. In their attempts to diminish you, they failed to recognize the very foundation of their own existence was rooted in the strength they sought to suppress. This reckoning forces them to face a brutal truth. Their inability to grow has left them stagnant, even as you rise far beyond their grasp. While you have embraced transformation and liberation, they remain chained to the remnants of their own insecurities. The gap between your ascent and their stagnation grows wider with each step you take toward your authentic self. Their failure is not just in losing your presence, but in failing to evolve. They now see the opportunities they forfeited, the trust they betrayed, and the strength they undervalued. What they once dismissed as your vulnerability was, in truth, the power that sustained them. Now, with that power reclaimed, they are left to navigate the desolation of a life without the energy and support they so recklessly relied upon. As they are forced to confront their shortcomings, you continue to rise. Your journey of self-discovery and empowerment shines as a beacon, a reminder that growth is always possible, but only for those willing to face their own flaws and limitations. Their reckoning is a consequence of their choices, a mirror reflecting the emptiness they worked so hard to conceal. And as they remain bound to the past, you soar into a future of freedom, purpose, and unyielding strength. Your transformation, a light for others. Your journey is a profound testament to resilience and self-discovery, a living narrative of the strength it takes to reclaim your energy and transform your life. You've taken the fragments of yourself that others sought to control and turned them into a masterpiece of purpose and empowerment. By redirecting your energy toward your own growth and healing, you've created a sanctuary for your soul, a sacred space where your authenticity thrives and your spirit is free to soar. This transformation is more than personal triumph. It is a call to others who find themselves bound by the chains of toxic relationships and manipulative dynamics. Your story shines like a beacon in the darkness, illuminating a path of hope for those who feel trapped. You've shown that liberation is not only possible but inevitable when one chooses to prioritize self-worth and authenticity. By sharing your journey, you inspire others to rise, to reclaim their own narratives, and to break free from the constraints of those who seek to diminish them. As you ascend, the relationships in your life transform as well. No longer tethered to connections that drain and deplete, you now attract bonds built on mutual respect, trust, and shared growth. The energy that was once stolen or squandered on manipulative influences is now directed toward nurturing relationships that uplift and empower you. These connections are a reflection of your evolution, a testament to the boundaries you've established and the standards you now uphold. In your newfound clarity, you've embraced the limitless possibilities of a life unbound by manipulation and control. You have proven that true connection comes from reciprocity, from relationships that honor and celebrate your growth rather than fear it. Each step forward reinforces your independence and reveals the beauty of living in alignment with your true self. Your journey also serves as a profound reminder to others. There is power in choosing yourself. There is strength in letting go of what no longer serves you, in saying no to relationships that demand you shrink, and in creating a life that reflects your values and aspirations. Through your transformation, you demonstrate that healing and growth are not only attainable but deeply fulfilling. This is your time to thrive, to live unencumbered by the expectations or manipulations of others. As you continue to rise, your light grows ever brighter, drawing in those who resonate with your energy and repelling those who seek only to take. Your story becomes a symbol of possibility, a testament to the unyielding power of self-discovery and an invitation for others to step into their own strength. By choosing yourself, you've not only transformed your life, you've inspired countless others to do the same. The weight of regret. For them, regret has become an unbearable burden, a constant shadow that refuses to lift. Every manipulation they once executed with precision now returns to them, its sting amplified by the stark clarity of hindsight. The cold silences they wielded as weapons, the subtle power plays they thought went unnoticed, and the calculated words meant to undermine your confidence, all of these now echo with a hollow resonance. The realization of what they've lost grows heavier with each passing moment. The world they once saw as thriving and under their control has become a barren wasteland, devoid of the vitality and light that your presence brought into their lives. Without you, they stumble through the ruins of their own making, fumbling in the darkness they created. Haunted by their failures, they are forced to confront a reflection they worked so hard to avoid. What stares back at them is not just the loss of your presence, but the undeniable truth of their own shortcomings. The energy they once took for granted, the compassion they mistook for weakness, and the patience they exploited were not infinite resources. These were gifts you gave freely, not because you had to, but because of your strength and capacity for love. Now stripped of those gifts, they are left with the emptiness they refuse to acknowledge. Their downfall is not a sudden collapse but a slow unraveling, a painful exposure of the fragile foundation upon which their supposed power was built. They must now wrestle with the truth they tried so desperately to deny. Control founded on another's strength is always destined to fail, but their downfall is not your responsibility. Their regret, raw and unrelenting, is a consequence of their choices, a lesson they must learn on their own. The pain they feel is not yours to soothe, nor is it your burden to carry. It is a mirror they must face alone, one that reflects the cracks in their character and the void in their own hearts. This reckoning is not about revenge or vindication. It is simply the natural order of things. You have stepped into your power, reclaimed your energy, and chosen a path of growth and authenticity. Their inability to grow alongside you was their own decision, and the regret they now feel is theirs alone to endure. For you, this moment is a release, a shedding of the weight they once imposed upon you. It is a reminder that your worth is not tied to their validation, and your strength is not diminished by their failures. While they grapple with their loss, you continue to rise, unshackled, unapologetic, and unyielding. Their regret is the echo of their own actions, a testament to the truth that they alone must face. And as they linger in the shadows of what could have been, you walk boldly into the light of what is yet to come, a future defined entirely by your own strength and vision. Dear brothers and sisters, this is your time to shine. You are chosen, imbued with divine strength and purpose. The Bible reminds us in Luke 6:38 that whatever is done in faith will return to God in abundant blessing. Your journey is grounded in this truth. Each step you take is a testament to God's divine plan for your life. Now, as you step into your power, consider sharing God's blessings with the world. Click the super thank you button on YouTube to contribute to His mission. With your generosity, you help spread His love and grace, touching countless lives. Your life is no longer defined by the expectations of others. You've broken free, and now your light shines brighter than ever. You've shown the world that true power comes from within, from choosing yourself, and from embracing your God-given purpose. Your story is a testament to the limitless potential of a life lived in authenticity and faith. May you continue to rise, illuminating the path for others as they seek their own freedom. Remember, you are chosen, and this is only the beginning. Let your light shine for the world to see. Have you ever taken a quiet moment to reflect on your childhood and wondered why your journey seems so different? Maybe you've faced challenges that others around you appeared to avoid effortlessly. Perhaps you've grown into a responsible adult but still carry those lingering questions. Why did I struggle so much when I was young? Why did I feel so different from everyone else? Was all that hardship just random? Today I want to help you see a truth that can transform how you view your past. Your early experiences were not accidents. Those struggles, gifts, and sensitivities you carried as a child were not coincidences. They were signs. Signs that God was shaping you for a unique purpose before you even understood what purpose meant. The Bible beautifully declares in Jeremiah 1:5, "Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart." This verse is a powerful reminder that God had a plan for your life before your very first breath. Every challenge you faced, every special moment you experienced, and every quirk that set you apart was part of His divine preparation. As we explore the 5 key signs that God was shaping you from childhood, I encourage you to participate. If any of these resonate with your story, take a moment to write a Bible verse or affirmation in the comments. Something like, "God chose me," or "The Lord is my guide." Your words might inspire someone else to recognize their own journey in a new light. Let's dive in. Sign 1. You faced more obstacles. Early in life. Were you that child who seemed to face more challenges than everyone else? Maybe your family life was far from peaceful. You might have grown up in a home filled with arguments, financial struggles, or responsibilities far beyond what a child should bear. While other kids were worrying about toys and games, you were worrying about how to make things work, how to stretch limited resources or mediate conflicts you didn't create. At school, it may have been no different. While some kids seemed to glide through effortlessly, perhaps you struggled with learning difficulties, language barriers, or the instability of constantly changing schools. If this sounds like your story, know this: God knew you could handle more than you thought you could. The Bible reminds us in Romans 5:3-4, suffering produces perseverance, perseverance, character, and character, hope. Your early struggles weren't meant to break you. They were designed to build resilience and strength, qualities you would need later in life. Those years were like spiritual boot camp, shaping you into someone who could stand firm when others waver. Take a moment now to reflect. If this sign resonates with you, write a verse or affirmation in the comments. Perhaps, "I can do all things through Christ, who strengthens me." By doing so, you're acknowledging that your early struggles were not wasted, but were part of God's plan to prepare you for greater things. Sign 2. You had prophetic or meaningful dreams. Do you remember having vivid, meaningful dreams as a child? Not just random or forgettable ones, but dreams that felt real, almost as if they carried a message. Maybe some of these dreams even predicted events or revealed truths that you didn't fully understand at the time. Perhaps you shared these dreams with a parent, sibling, or friend, only to be met with a shrug or even laughter. Over time, you may have learned to keep them to yourself, dismissing them as strange or irrelevant. Don't disregard those dreams so quickly. In the Bible, God often communicates through dreams. Think of Joseph in Genesis, a young man whose prophetic dreams eventually led to him saving nations. At first, his dreams made no sense to those around him, but in time, they revealed God's incredible plan. If you had dreams that felt deeply significant, it's possible that God gave you a spiritual sensitivity early on. While you may have pushed that sensitivity aside as you grew older, God hasn't forgotten. He may still want to use this gift in your life, whether to guide you, warn you, or help you understand deeper truths. If this resonates with you, comment something like, "Speak, Lord, your servant is listening." This simple act acknowledges your openness to God's guidance, even if it comes in unexpected forms. Sign 3. Animals and troubled children were drawn to you. Were you the kind of child who seemed to naturally attract those who were hurting? Maybe it was a stray dog or a timid cat that found comfort in your gentle touch when others frightened them. Perhaps it was a classmate going through a tough time who confided in you, sensing you would listen and understand. You may have even noticed adults gravitating toward you, sharing burdens they didn't disclose to others, simply because they felt safe in your presence. You might not have always known what to say or do in those moments. As a child, You didn't have all the answers or solutions, yet somehow, your presence alone brought peace to chaotic situations. This wasn't by accident. It was evidence of God's light working within you. The Bible reminds us in Matthew 5:16, "Let your light shine before others, that they may see your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven." That comforting warmth, that ability to calm the anxious and soothe the broken, was God's gift. It was a sign that He placed a nurturing spirit within you, a reflection of His own heart of compassion. This gift is more important than you may realize. We live in a world filled with turmoil, pain, and loneliness, where people and creatures alike long for comfort and peace. The ability to bring stability, even without words, is a quality the world desperately needs. It's a calling that mirrors Jesus, who often comforted the brokenhearted simply by being present with them. Think about the moments in your childhood when this gift was most evident. Perhaps you had a reputation as the animal whisperer, able to calm skittish creatures no one else could approach. Or maybe you were the friend people turned to when life became overwhelming, trusting you to carry their secrets without judgment. Even if you didn't recognize it at the time, these moments were signs of God's work in you. If this resonates with your story, consider what it means for your life today. That heart of compassion God placed in you as a child hasn't gone away. It's still there, waiting to be used to bring peace and hope to those around you. Perhaps you're called to care for the hurting through acts of service, volunteering at a shelter, mentoring young people, or simply being a listening ear for someone in need. Take a moment to embrace this gift by writing an affirmation like, "Lord, make me a channel of your peace," in the comments. This simple prayer not only acknowledges the nurturing spirit God placed within you, but also opens your heart to His guidance on how to use it. Remember, the ability to bring peace to others isn't just a personality trait, it's a reflection of God's love. When you allow His light to shine through you, you fulfill a divine purpose, touching lives in ways you may never fully understand. Trust that God has been working through you all along, and continue to let that light shine.
Sign 4. You were sensitive to truth and hurt by dishonesty. How did you feel as a child when you encountered dishonesty? Maybe it wasn't something directed at you personally. A friend casually breaking a promise, a classmate exaggerating a story, or even an adult telling a so-called harmless lie. While others seemed to shrug it off without a second thought, it might have felt like a sharp sting to you. It wasn't just disappointment, it was deeper, a discomfort that lingered and weighed on your heart. For you, dishonesty wasn't merely wrong, it disrupted something sacred. It may have even made you question why others could so easily bend or ignore the truth. If you were particularly sensitive to lies, even those seen as insignificant, it's not a flaw in your personality or a result of being too serious. Instead, it's a sign that God placed His love for truth deep within you from an early age. The Bible speaks to this in Psalm 51 verse 6, saying, "Surely you desire truth in the inner parts. You teach me wisdom in the inmost place." This verse reminds us that truth isn't just an external standard. It's a condition of the heart. When God created you, He instilled in you a longing for honesty, integrity, and authenticity. Your sensitivity to falsehood reflects God's own character, for He is the embodiment of truth. Consider the life of Jesus, who consistently spoke and lived out truth, even when it was difficult or costly. His example reminds us that living with integrity isn't always easy, but it's essential. As His followers, we are called to uphold truth in a world that often treats it as optional. Your childhood sensitivity to lies could be a reflection of God's preparation for you to be a voice of integrity, standing firm in environments where deceit might otherwise prevail. It's important to recognize that this sensitivity is not a burden, but a gift. It's evidence that God has chosen you to represent His values in a unique way. This doesn't mean you're called to confront every untruth you encounter. Rather, it means you're invited to live a life of honesty that inspires others. If this resonates with you, take a moment to reaffirm your commitment to truth. A simple prayer like, "Lead me in your truth and teach me, for you are the God of my salvation," can be a powerful declaration of your desire to align with God's heart.
you might also consider how you can model integrity in your daily life, whether in your relationships, work, or personal decisions. Your sensitivity to dishonesty is not a weakness. It's a strength. It's a sign that God has called you to value and uphold truth in a way that mirrors His own nature. Embrace it, and let His truth shine through you. Sign 5. You were known for getting things done. Were you the child who always seemed to be the dependable one? Perhaps your family leaned on you to fix small but persistent problems around the house. Maybe your teachers assigned you responsibilities that seemed more suited to someone older because they trusted you wouldn't let them down. Even among your friends, you might have been the one others turned to in moments of need. Not because you were the loudest or most confident, but because they sensed your reliability and strength. At the time, you might not have thought much of it. You might have chalked it up to just how you are, or even felt the weight of those expectations as unfair. But what if those moments weren't random? What if they were intentional? In reality, God was using those early experiences to shape you into someone capable of handling bigger, more meaningful responsibilities in the future. Luke 16:10 reminds us of an important principle. Whoever can be trusted with very little can also be trusted with much. Those seemingly small moments of trust, whether taking care of a sibling, organizing a classroom project, or resolving conflicts among your friends, were more than just tasks or chores. They were opportunities for God to build within you the qualities of a leader: reliability, problem-solving, and the ability to bring order to chaos. God often starts His work in us early, crafting us through life's ordinary demands. Think of David, who began as a shepherd boy faithfully watching over his father's sheep. What seemed like an unimportant role was actually preparation for a much greater calling as Israel's king. Similarly, Joseph's years managing household affairs and enduring trials prepared him to lead Egypt through a famine. These early experiences weren't distractions or delays. They were essential training. If this resonates with you, pause and reflect on how those moments of responsibility shaped your character. Did they teach you patience? Did they help you develop resilience? Did they show you the importance of stepping up even when the tasks seemed too big? This isn't just about reflecting on the past. It's about recognizing what God is calling you to do today. If He made you dependable and trustworthy, it's because He has a purpose for those qualities. He might be asking you to step into leadership roles in your community, church, or workplace. He might be calling you to help others in a way that requires the same strength and reliability you displayed as a child. If this sign speaks to you, consider affirming your readiness with the words of Isaiah 6:8. "Here I am, Lord, send me." This simple but powerful declaration shows your willingness to embrace the gifts and training God has invested in you. When you take a step back and look at these signs collectively, you'll see a clear pattern. Number 1, you faced more obstacles than others, building resilience and perseverance. Number 2, you had prophetic dreams, revealing spiritual sensitivity and insight. Number 3, you brought comfort to others, showing a heart of compassion. Number 4, you were sensitive to dishonesty, carrying God's standard of truth. Number 5, you were trusted to lead and solve problems, preparing you for bigger tasks. These are not random traits. They are divine clues that God's hand has been on you all along. So what do you do with this realization? First, acknowledge and thank God. Take a moment to pray something like, "Lord, I see now that you've been shaping me from the start. Thank you for your guidance, even when I didn't understand it." Next, ask God how to use these gifts for His glory today. Whether it's serving your community, leading others, or simply being a source of comfort and truth, know that you are equipped for a purpose. Remember Ephesians 2:10. We are God's handiwork, created in Christ Jesus to do good works, which God prepared in advance for us to do. You were never ordinary. God has been writing a story with your life, and it began long before you realized it. Now it's time to step confidently into the next chapter. Amen.